Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm your host, Adam Riancho. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're here to draft some best ball teams. We're going to hop into the German Shepherd Superflex this evening. There's not that many spots left. We will hop in until it fills, and that's probably the main event tonight. So let us begin. Vámonos, muchachos. Let's go. I love the Spanish phrase for gentlemen, fellas, muchachos. Uh, Rolls off the tongue. Really fun to say. But Peppertoni in here is Fimps this evening and got a little bored. I challenge you, Peppertoni, to try to practice some just presence in the moment. A little bit of patience. You know what I did today? I went and got a burrito for dinner and I called it in. I paid for it. I had to wait. I did not bring my phone intentionally. Just wanted to sit and raw dog the experience. You don't have to raw dog a full flight, but you know what? Enjoy the moments you have to yourself sometimes. We were only late by like 15 seconds, but this bandit, what's up? How we doing? Good evening. Scott, good evening to you as well. Nice to see you as always. First Damn Fantasy in the house. My stepdad, I saw two dudes flip a golf cart today. Pretty sure they were smashed, but damn, they were both okay, but all I could think was that meme, fuck! Have you seen the clip that's going around social media right now? Some golf course where like some drunk dude like submerged a fucking golf cart down like a rocky cliff. There's like multiple angles as like the next person that was driving past like sees him exiting the pond and is like wet, and then you have to look it up. If you just go submerged golf cart, I'm pretty sure you'll find it. It happened like within the last week. It was posted. I've seen it a few times. It makes me laugh. But I've flipped some golf carts in my day. You know, it's perfect. You get you're on like a hole that's a little bit like of a hill, maybe not completely, like a 45-degree angle. You don't want it to be too steep, but just like a little bit of an incline. And you play late enough into the evening where the sprinklers start to come on, and you get a nice little slick track, and you get a little extra speed and whip that thing all the way around with the brakes just being slammed. You will flip that. You will flip that cart. Be careful. It's worth going for the Tokyo Drift. When you see me, then you know. Vasatoyo. Drift. You got to try it. But you're going to flip a card eventually. It's definitely happened to me. It's fun times, though. You just push it back over. Nobody's the wiser. There's no there's no fee you have to pay. But anyway, let's hop in for Superflex of the season for Christian Ramos. Let's see if you can hop in. We're joining this German Shepherd in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 4 spots remaining. Come on down. Take it if you want it. But let's bring in the music. Had a fun little intro with the chat there. But let's lock in. We get pick 6. We are in Superflex. It's a different beast. But Super Beast is in here. We got several friends and family. Let's shout it out. All 12 people. We got Snappin' on Sundays at the 101. Buzzards get the 102. Polymath at the 103. Peppertoni, our boy, at the 104. Rocco Jamaica returning to the lobby at the 105 right next to me. And then Tyler Petroni at the 107. Batwheat at the 108. Super Beast at the 109. Boss Bailey at the 10. Cunningham at the 11. And then Chad, our boy Niners fan, 05 with pick 12. Let's get it, everyone. Good luck. Hopefully someone in this lobby makes the final. But it was not quite a California burrito. It was a carnitas burrito. And sometimes that crispy pork fucking slaps. But I don't always go carnitas. Typically, carne asada is a pretty reliable bet. If you trust the place, al pastor is usually worth it. But sometimes it's not as good as other spots. But today we went carnitas. Not afraid of the pork. But hello, Batwheat. I see you at the 108. Welcome in. Disbanded has done everything in a golf cart except die. You got to push the limit in the golf cart every now and then. It's just not a real vehicle. It might as well be a bumper cart. There is nothing that you can do that will ever come back to haunt you. You drop that shit off with a busted axle at the pro shop, you can walk away just fine. I've done that before. Once I was in high school. Maybe it's just because I was in high school. I'll go Jaden Daniels. No issue with that. Jaden Daniels at the 106. He is my quarterback 4. I have him one spot behind Drake May. I go back and forth between Daniels and Herbert at the 104, but at least in the Superflex lobby, Herbert usually goes in like the second, so don't see the full point of reaching on him. I got plenty of Herbert in this contest. Okay, anyways, back to the story. I was on the golf team in high school, and there was a dude that joined our like practice round one day who was like not really there to be serious. He was one of the linemen on the football team, and he brought some beers. He was having a good time. Yes, we were in high school, and he was chugging Coors Light on the 5th hole, but he wrecked that thing. He drove it into a tree, and because I was the upperclassman, that golf cart was technically like in my name, but in reality it was in the school's name, and it moved. The wheels didn't fully turn. One of them was just clocked at an extra 30 degrees compared to the other one. The alignment was fucked. But we were able to get the cart back to the pro shop and just handed him the keys. Went on with my day, drove off. I never had to deal with that. I didn't do it, but it was technically in my name. And the school's ultimate problem. But long story short, that dude did not make the team. If you had to guess, he did not make the team. But what's up, Jerry? We were live with Jerry earlier today for a couple drafts in the Eliminator. That was pretty dope. Shout out our boy Jiri. Just went over 400 subs. Congrats. And on to 1K. Subscribe over there if you haven't checked it out. Awesome live streamer. Good friend of the channel. I'll go Jackson Dart. Let's go double running back. Why not? Different bye week, so no ultimate concern there. That's really the only element of quarterback tiebreakers. I almost took a receiver there, but you can still get someone like Jefferson in the next round. Maybe CeeDee Lamb is also a good qualifier, but receivers usually pretty deep in Superflex. But Air Jeff, aloha. How you doing? What's up, DJ Quilt? Good evening to you. Hope you're having a nice Tuesday. It's 8 p.m. on the West Coast, 11 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's actually still bright outside. It's still pretty light, just out the window. But First Damn Fantasy, the roof was fucked up and clubs were everywhere, but man, seeing that in real life was nuts. Only ever seen a cart flip like that in Jackass. I imagine there are some cart flips that are more crazy than others, but it's a rite of passage. If you haven't flipped a golf cart, I don't think you're living. Don't think you're testing the bounds of your adult body to recover. You might be shaken up for one day. Maybe you land on your foot a little awkwardly. But I've always walked away from them unscathed, pretty much. What's up, Anthony? Taco Tuesday. Welcome in. All right, so we start off double quarterback. That's always a safe play in these Superflex lobbies. Pepper Tony went triple RB. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants. Like I said, CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson are still here. ADP says I could pivot to quarterback if I wanted, but receiver is the main play. And in all honesty, I do have Jefferson ranked above Lamb. So I'll do that. The anchor elite receiver gives me the luxury of not really forcing it too much at the position later. You can totally get away with just like 6 wideouts in this format. And if 2 of them are studs, that's kind of all you need to bet on, just them staying healthy. And then randomly, you'll get a few flex contributions out of the other ones. But generally speaking, you're trusting that you have the correct elite receivers. But isn't this a Chihuahua? Asked Pepper Tony. It's a Chihuahua, Peppertoni. You're way ahead of everyone. You're drafting in the fifth dimension. You're playing 5D chess. If you're being serious, that's pretty wild. But no, we are in the German Shepherd Superflex. I'm willing to trust you. It's a bit bold, but technically they're all still in the starting roster. You got the 2 running backs, 1 flex with Bijan, Genty, and Henry. Let's see what happens. Let's see how Peppertoni builds this out the rest of the way. But very, very interested to see how this goes. Just a massive zig when the rest of the lobby zags. Only Boss Bailey had a similar approach. Otherwise, most other teams are 2 QBs through the first 3 rounds. Malik Willis does not make it back, so almost left him there for Peppertoni, but no, a big fall off between him and Stroud. I'm gonna go double elite receiver. I'm gonna also take Drake London. I don't do this too often, but I think by taking Jefferson and London there, now I really have the excuse to move off of that position for several rounds in a row. I don't really have to address receiver until someone like Matthew Golden, hypothetically, if I really want to. I could just build out the depth with a lot of running backs, maybe some elite tight ends even. But there'll be a quarterback that mixes in fairly soon, probably. Superflex is always just choose your own adventure. You can build so many different teams with the same starts. It's not very obvious what exactly is going to pay off. There's definitely like errors you can make. I think if you go too heavy, like if you draft 4 straight quarterbacks, there's a world where like you just miss out on some valuable starting roster elements because you can only start 2. I don't know if you want to have too many bench spots in your first 4 picks, but reading the room I think is also important. Not falling behind it. Running back is also huge, so I'm at risk of that. I should definitely pivot soon and for a while. But with a starting roster that has Jefferson and London any 2 weeks, we might have 2 top 5 receivers on the team. So that's an advantage. You can also have receivers hit the flex. That's also a factor. Don't want to completely fade wide out, but I will say I'm not going to be building out a bunch of receiver depth right now. Hitting the bench, I don't think is a wise move right here. But Cam Ward goes to Polymath. Peppertoni's back on the clock. He goes Daniel Jones. So a couple meh quarterbacks there. But sure, I'll take Jacobs today. Waiting until round 5. Jacobs either gets suspended and there's some legitimate like legal action, some type of commissioner's exempt list, but odds are, if you really pay attention to the NFL, nothing's going to happen. Odds are he's fine. Odds are he's still the massive goal line leader in the Packers offense, a system you've wanted a piece of for a minute, and reliably goes to this player on the goal line whenever they have the chance. So expect another 10 plus touchdowns for Jacobs. That'll keep him relevant. His efficiency was definitely down, but the touchdowns are pretty safe to assume when healthy. But what's up, Who Hames? A nice little family soup from our boy Who Hames. Shout out, his channel is popping on the road to 1K, I believe right on the heels of 750, and would love to see our friend Who Hames hit 1K before the season. He will do a 24-hour live stream when that happens, before the season kicks off. So subscribe over there. And tomorrow, me and Who Hames are going to be competitors on Best Ball Jeopardy. Very excited for that. One of us will advance, and couldn't be more excited for that matchup tomorrow. I'm going to leave Gino for Peppertoni. I'm sure he's very excited to be drafting him. I'm just going to take a money in the bank type of selection. Give me the Chicago Bears RB1. Let's take DeAndre Swift right here. But yeah, shout out. The Fanspeak Network will be live tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, so that's 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So an evening stream if you're on the East Coast. It's a bit late night. Last week, they played much earlier in the day, and this week we're playing in the evening, and maybe I have that West Coast advantage late night. Wish me luck. I think it'll be a close, good game. Hopefully, I don't shit the bed. I think I can deliver, but I don't think it's going to come easily. So excited for that matchup, Who Hames. Cheers to you. And anyone watching who hasn't checked him out, subscribe to our boy Who Hames over there on the channel. MC Spears, I will sit quiet and try to make the next draft. I missed last 3. Yo, my bad. I did not show you the board for like the last minute. But am I jumping early or my internet is lagging? I've been counting it down from 10. However, I've also been adjusting the speed to which I count down. So honestly, anywhere between 10 and 5 is probably your best chance to enter the lobby alongside me. But MC Spears, I have 29% lemon sugar flour and a 12. Yeah, who the fuck is Sugar playing for? The Rams' 5th tight end. Okay, that's not Charlie Kolar? No, it's the Chargers tight end. They got I thought Davis Allen was the 5th tight end. I guess they got another name I'm unfamiliar with. But Pepper Tony passes on Geno twice. Interesting. But Byshel Tutin's still here. The team can definitely use him. Come on down, Mr. Byshel Tutin. Decent running back room. Maybe not the best imaginable, but to wait until the 5th round and still wind up with Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, and Byshel Tutin, not bad. Not bad at all. Swift and Tutin going fairly close to each other in that 5th round in a typical format. So to get Tutin in the 7th, I think is a notable price fall. I think pretty sweet given how running backs are evaluated. And we're going to be chilling. But if Jacobs' efficiency improves, he could smash his ADP. That's definitely possible. He was a insanely productive player 2 years ago. The touchdowns are a safe bet. So if the efficiency can step up, last year the O-line did not help him, but he just kind of looked washed as well. Just not very prolific between the 20s, but where it mattered most in the red zone, it sure happened. But oh my God, do you have the name Blunt and don't know any weed strains? I don't make it my ultimate personality. It's a multitude of my personality. It's not at the forefront. Yeah, I'm not spending too much time scouring the Rolodex of every single strain possible. Maybe I'll look it up though. Won the cup strain, so maybe I should know it, but yeah. I'm not that aware of anything I've never smoked before. So I don't really care. But yeah, I'm a big phony. A big phony. This guy's a phony. He doesn't memorize every single THC percentage imaginable. I think I'm going to take Tua. I think it makes sense. Right at ADP, I don't see why I would take Brissett just because he fell 11 picks. It doesn't stack up the same way. And I could possibly just stop with Daniels, Dart, and Tua. 2 of my favorite handcuff quarterbacks are also there in the final rounds. We could go with Mariota. We could go with Jameis Winston. But Tua, I believe, will get the starting job week 1. And I think until he goes down, I think he will maintain it. I think they'll be competitive enough to be in line for the division. It's still the Falcons. The Falcons always kind of find a way to choke. And ultimately, Tua probably gets hurt. Now, Tyler Warren was still on the board. Maybe I should have taken him because pick 91 is quite a value. But I think in Superflex, the quarterback position kind of spoke to me a little bit more. And today we have London, so it is a little extra justified to go with Tua. I think he will have the most starts in Atlanta. I think he gives them the best chance to win. But all right. Father of the Year, definitely a candidate for Geno Smith. But we got I saw 29% lemon sugar flour, and my brain went straight to best ball exposures. I know the Mackay Lemon and Zay Flowers, 29%. That's exactly what happened to me too. I was not thinking THC at all, just because flour was thrown out there. That did not register, given the context. Zay Flowers is like one of the most popular players right now, in the third round. It is not where my mind went. I'll tell you that. We'll take the chance on RJ Harvey. Just build out the running back room. There will be a cliff relatively soon on running back, and if I can get 5 on my team before then, knowing I wait until the 5th round to get my first, that's where it's at. But yeah, honestly, of all the words you could have thrown out there, lemon sugar flour 29% was not immediately registering as a weed strain around here. But I totally thought you had 29% Mackay Lemon, and I was like, that's fucking crazy. A legit miscommunication. If you're not clicking sugar in every draft, you will not be winning money this year. Yeah, Sugar is competing with Brandon Ayuk for wide receiver 2 reps on the Commanders, if you didn't know. Sugar's a round 18 pick that goes undrafted. Really high on Sugar this season. New game, sidekick recommendation or weed strain? Honestly, I think this would be a tough game. This could legitimately be a category in Best Ball Jeopardy tomorrow. I think legitimately sidekick recommendation or weed strain for 1,000. The answer is, what percentage of lemon sugar flour is the baseline? All right, a massive run on running back, so grabbing Harvey there was valuable. I am not very interested in some of these picks, but we're invested in Tua, and honestly, I think if there's a player that might fall back, I think it could be Michael Penix. Let's go Kyle Pitts. Let's further invest in this Tua selection, make it even more valuable on this team, and Kyle Pitts, in general, just a value here. A pretty safe pick, but maybe the fall on Tyler Warren was really where the tight end selection was crushing in this draft. That one looks very notable, and I passed on it for Tua, so let's legitimize it even more. Let's continue to claim Tua as a winning piece. He's not a runner of the football at all, so very much needs to be tied to the success of his pass catchers. And it's a very narrow target tree in Atlanta, very obvious where the ball's going to go. If Bijan isn't getting it, then they're throwing it to London about 11 times per game. And Kyle Pitts probably has like 9 targets per week as well. So it's a very obvious bet. Pretty reliable click on Kyle Pitts. But yeah, I think we were all thrown for a bit of a loop there. The lemon and flour is really where it puts you in a completely different context. But Tua DeLongkilla, player or weed strain? That one's got to be weed. If I had to guess. There's a strain named after Tua, and it basically gives you a concussion. But 50% of the drafts are late night stoners. At least on my streams, that's a fair bet. My streams, it's more like maybe 90% of those. All right, I've ignored receiver for a minute. And you know who's on the thumbnail? Xavier Worthy. But you know who I'm going to take? Michael Pittman. Not going to trust Worthy as wide receiver 3. He immediately goes to Tyler Petroni. You know, what's interesting is Peppertoni's in this one, and then there's also Tyler Petroni. And that feels like a Timu version of our moderator. Let's take a look at the team next to me, who is building out a 3-4-4-0 with Jamar Chase, Mahomes, Hampton, Malik Willis, Rashee Rice with the stack at 55, Mendoza, Devontae Adams, Ramondre, J.K. Dobbins, Kenny Gainwell, and then AutoClicks Worthy with Mahomes. Rather interesting. But my team, I'm glad that we invested in running back as consistently as I did. I think it was kind of necessary to feel good about the starting roster. We have legit options every week, and maybe we can wait out Jacobs if there is an issue at some point in the year with a suspension. But quarterback with Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart, and Tua. I think Tua starts week 1 and might hold on to the job until the week 11 bye, where if they're still close for the division, if he's healthy enough, I think he might just stay there as the starter. But Jacobs, Swift, Tootin, and Harvey, pretty legit. Spike week viability every week. Couple week 10 buys, but not upset with it at all. And then here, I wish I could take Isaiah Likely. Chig makes a lot of sense. Wandale's still available, however, and receiver does kind of dry up fast. So I'll go Wandale just to build out the depth and have volume. Like if there ever is a week where Jefferson just gets locked up by his opposing cornerback. On occasion, that does happen. Not very often, but on occasion, you don't get a touchdown for Jefferson, and it's only a 70-yard game, and 9 points in best ball isn't ideal. So let's give ourselves a couple more outs when there are the 3 or 4 matchups where London and Jefferson just don't quite pop. They have tremendous upside, but on occasion I will need a few other pieces. So grabbing Wandale while I still can. We ignored receiver for 6 straight rounds, and in the middle of the board, those single digits, that's where a lot of the value lies. So trusting my elite top 2, Jefferson and London, is very compelling, but also needing to develop some depth eventually before we just enter the contingent bets, the number 3s on their team, the guys who might actually need an injury to really pop in the lineup. But we got the double stack in Atlanta. 4 running backs, 4 receivers, 3 quarterbacks so far. Team's coming together. Chigo Okonkwo does go off the board, so unavailable for the stacking partner. Not that many pass catchers we know are currently playing in Washington, but there's still some late round options. I'm not completely out of the water just yet. But let me catch up with the chat real quick. We got Air Jeff saying, just finished a draft where I went Puka, Bowers, Josh. I finished with an interesting team, but I wanted to go for the number 1 potential score at each position for my top 3 picks. That is a valid strategy sometimes. Just building out the starting roster can definitely pay off. But I'll go Stephon Diggs here. Definitely feels like the most obvious landing spot for him would be Washington with the Commanders. So I think that's the best case scenario. I'm willing to believe that. Pick 150 overall. Definitely a valid click here, and especially if I'm going to luck into the stack with Jaden Daniels, it's even more of a valid bet. At this point, I have enough Stephon Diggs where even though I expect his price to move up, how much more valuable can he really become? It's possible he only moves up like a round and a half, possibly. Like, is he going to be more valuable than Pittman? I'm not sure. So is he just automatically supplanting Michael Pittman? That I wouldn't bet on entirely. So I don't want to go too overboard, but taking Stephon Diggs with Jaden Daniels, I think, is a more valid valid way to justify it. But Air Jeff, good luck, Josh Allen in the third. Still feels correct. Ultimately, it still feels like it will pay off, but it's also very expensive given where everybody else goes. But Pepper Tones for Thrones is the translation here, but you're saying Peppertoni Pertroni. Yeah, it's kind of close. I don't think Peppertoni's name is Tyler, but Peppertoni. But Blunt, do this one time. Let it auto draft first 5 rounds by ADP, then log in and finish the team. I mean, we can just watch it auto click and just accept our fate. The first 5 rounds are not really where I'm afraid to auto click. I'd be willing to do that, honestly. I don't think it'd be the end of the world. I'm willing to get stuck with like 5 straight receivers. Okay, interesting. Cousins made it back, but Cousins more of an early season play, just like Tua. Maybe not a perfect selection. Dang. This is getting gross. Shit. Running back kind of fell off quickly. I'll go Jalen McMillan, and I think I'm probably going to try and stop with these 6. I'll probably try. But that's what you did today, and it became your favorite team. I mean, it can definitely work out. I mean, sometimes you end up hopping into a draft, and it's like, well, all these guys are falling. Like, I might as well just accept my fate and take top of ADP. Like, I've definitely had teams where 7 rounds in, I feel like I've only made like 2 actual clicks that are not just the top of ADP because the board decides, like, you get the faller again. I think especially if you have like pick 6, pick 7, pick 8, pick 5, somewhere in the middle of the board, it's much more viable. Definitely happens more often than you would expect. But yeah, I could see that turning into a decent team. But it's kind of like letting the sim decide. Like, no offense to the streamers that do this, but I don't think I would ever do like, let's live stream today and use one of the sims and just do every single thing it tells me to do every single time. Like, every single time I'm taking the top click, no matter what. I feel like I don't really see the point in doing that, other than like engaging with the chat, I guess. But like, being on autopilot does not excite me. I do this because I like the engagement that I have with not just the chat, but the board and like the game that we're playing. I like to be present for it, so I'd be willing to mix it in. Maybe on like the 4th hour of a marathon stream, it might be a solid bet. But Brian Robinson also pairs up with Tua. It makes some sense. He's a valuable handcuff, especially if Bijan goes down. But maybe even some standalone value. There's not many weapons in the Falcons offense. So last year, the backup running back scored 8 touchdowns. Brian Robinson can fill in, and he will get some touches to just give Bijan a break. Some of them will lead to touchdowns. So we go Brian Robinson. I almost took him in the last round, but wasn't desperate to take him. Was honestly hoping I got Tank Bigsby, but Bigsby was off the board. Our boy Chad, Niners fan, already took him at 157. And I don't see him and Brian Robinson like that much different ultimately. They're kind of close, but they are a little bit different bets. But for a minute, it was lagging. I pivoted over to the unfiltered live chat. If you're watching on YouTube, there's like chat settings. There's the top chat, and then there's the live chat, all of the non-filtered messages. And I did notice it was like slow for a sec. But Peppertoni gonna give me 3 guesses what his name is. You strike me as a David, Peppertoni. I feel like David could be one of the. I'm gonna lock that in as one of my guesses. I'm gonna go one at a time, but I feel like David Peppertoni would make sense. I mean, Tony is probably another valid guess, but my first guess is gonna be David. You strike me as a David. But Do it, win money. You would think so. That's what GM stands for, right? Get money, get money. But sidekick noise goes off, waits 5 seconds for sidekick to load. Oh, I like this guy. Yeah, I think I'll take him. Yeah, imagine if, like, you're just watching me live stream and all of a sudden I have, like, a minor power outage. All of a sudden, like, just something short circuits and I'm still live, but it's like, hold on. I can't make my pick without the information spoon-fed to me in a silver platter. I can't logically think this through for myself. Sometimes you gotta just do what you gotta do, but we're gonna go Gunner Helm here. I need tight end points. But, bro... I'll pivot to my second guess. Tony. You know what? I could see, you know, a David Pepper. I feel like Pepper is more likely to be your last name than Tony is your first name. Because here's the thing. I look at this as like pepperoni more than like Mr. Tony. Maybe I'm just dyslexic. Maybe I just focus on the wrong things. But yeah, David was my 101. Tony was my 102. If I have 3 guesses, I might as well throw it out there. Just trust the first thing that comes to mind. Draft every team from your toilet. Good to know that you've been on the toilet this entire time. Your porcelain throne. But yes, Who Hames. We'll be drafting more Superflex after this. Definitely more Superflex. Until the contest fills. I think that's just the vibe tonight. It won't be open tomorrow. That's for sure. But my biggest win was setting a line while driving with a Fat J. Let's go. Anytime you have a Fat J, it's nice. But, yeah. I wanted to be high risk, high reward. We got to shoot for the fence when we have 3 guesses. That first crack of the bat, that first swing, has to be a home run attempt, right? I got to at least go for a ground rule double on my first swing. Second swing, we'll opt for a bunt, and then third swing, we'll just like pray that we get it. But damn. Tight end kind of fell off quickly. We go Antonio Williams. It stacks up with Jaden Daniels. It's not bad. But I did kind of time out there. I was a little bit hard-pressed to decide on where to pivot to, but Antonio Williams at 198 definitely feels a little bit better than taking him at 155, 160. So... there we go. But, yo, Brett Nichols coming in with the Blunt Rotation membership. Appreciate you, Brett. Our boy Chad gets a team review. He's at pick 12. We also have... yo, excuse me. Okay, for team reviews, we have Pepper Tony, Batwheat, Super Beast, and Chad, the Niner fan, out of the 12 slot. But we have 3 rounds left. So far, I'm rocking with the 3-5-7-2. We've locked up at least 1 stack with Jaden Daniels. We are hopeful to get Stephon Diggs. But if Diggs does not go to Washington, then Antonio Williams becomes a much better pick. It's not looking like it's Brandon Ayuk coming to save the rescue. But Pepper is his stage name. Yeah, his alias, his official... SAG union name. The name on his headshot is Pepper. But can we talk about the 10 hole having 5 tight ends? That's what happened. Okay, no wonder I'm like, where the fuck are my tight end prices? Yeah, I've been kind of hard pressed with tight end in this lobby. I should have taken Tyler Warren. I probably should have taken him when I had the chance. But Rocco Jamaica scooped it up. Good for him. Back on the clock here. Grabbing a running back I think is viable. We need some tight end points as well, but not many quarterbacks remaining you really want. So I'd rather not mix in Colby Parkinson, but there's not that many left available. I think I'll go with Kalen Black today. I've got a decent amount of Jordan James, not as much Kalen Black, but I think it's a true toss-up at the moment. Who is the handcuff in San Francisco? And the bet against Christian McCaffrey is a pretty viable bet to make. You would assume he will miss at least a few games, and then he always has the chance of just going down for the season. But Chadrick, I think, is a good guess for Pepper Tony's name. Chadrick, definitely an option. What's up, Brett? How we doing? Oh, no. Chad is not Brett Nichols. Brett Nichols is Brew Crew. My bad. Mixed it up with our boy Chad at the 112. But Chad still gets a team review, regardless. He is a member. Who Haim saying the fact that I'm doing Superflex means that you can as well. That way we were both lost on Jeopardy tomorrow. I know. The risk of doing the non-baseline, like BBM, ADP type of contests, I think is a dilemma, perhaps. Definitely could mess with my brain. I might do drafters at the very tail end tonight as well. That'll definitely fuck with it. But, yeah, who knows? Might be a disadvantage. But, Pepper Tony, my teams are my intellectual property. Please do not look at them. You're a moderator, so it's just the price you have to pay for having the blue badge next to your name. I will look at it regardless. I'm not going to go Ayuk. I probably need a tight end here. I kind of want to go with Jake Tonjes. Theo Johnson actually, Theo Johnson makes some sense. We do have an unstacked Jackson Dart. Let's do it. Let's go Theo Johnson, tight end 3, a different option. And it's officially the 19th round. It's a little bit more viable to pivot a little bit at tight end. But some weird vibes at receiver over there in New York. Not quite sure what the target tree is going to look like. But as much as I like Isaiah Likely, there have also been times when he's really disappeared. And Theo Johnson proved to have some good chemistry in the red zone last year. Also had some drops. Those were an issue for him, but ultimately, he might be pretty involved. He might get like 70 targets, possibly. Maybe like 60, 65. But can I talk bad about TJ Pepper's lineup? Is that Pepper Tony or is that Tyler Petroni? I believe you're talking about our boy, the moderator. But I'll take a peek in a minute. If you want to say anything, go for it. But what's the next draft? We're sticking in the Superflex. The contest will fill tonight. There's less than 1,000 entries left. I will stick in this contest because we didn't do it at all on the live when it was available. So today, we're in Superflex. But what is this, 30 rounds? What, you don't like my Kalen Black, Theo Johnson? But, is this what Pepper Tony's real name is? Ronaldo? That'd be interesting. But Chad requesting that I stop speaking about Christian McCaffrey getting hurt. Please, pretty please. Here's the thing. I've been willing to take him more, so I'm starting to make the bet on him just staying healthy more willingly. But it's just like every other handcuff. It's like taking Tank Bigsby. If McCaffrey goes down, the Niners handcuff is extremely valuable. No question. No doubt about it. I could go Mariota. I could go Jameis Winston, but I don't have many entries in this contest. I don't think I've taken Jameis Winston yet. I will take Jameis. Let's go. We got Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jameis Winston, the Giants quarterback handcuff. Not a bad strategy in this contest. Jameis has a lot of upside. But at running back, we got Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, Byshul Tootin, RJ Harvey, Brian Robinson, and Kalen Black. These four might be a little bit mid at times, but do have some 20-plus point upside any given week, and the right combination at the right time, I think, can be enough. It's not the best running back room I've ever had, but it's not terrible either. And we waited a while. I think it checks out. But we might need a little injury luck to Bijan or CMC to get any value out of these last two. But at receiver, we have Justin Jefferson and Drake London filling out the starting lineup. Those two are definitely top 10 plays. I'm all in on Jefferson this year. I think he bounces back in a major way. And then London, reliably, when healthy, is one of the guys you don't want to face any given week. Can definitely just take over with a 30-plus pointer. But Michael Pittman in the clutch in terms of volume, an excellent play at 126. We got Wandale at 139. We got Stephon Diggs at 150. Might get him stacked up with Jaden. Hopefully that does hit. But if it doesn't, we still get Antonio Williams at 198. That's much more palatable. In terms of clicks on rookies, don't love the high price tag on Williams. But in this format, he's much more affordable. In what is it, the 17th round, I think? I think that's where I took him. But Jalen McMillan, one of my favorite receivers in terms of value, 163, almost 10 spots above ADP, but I think worth that reach of value for sure. Our top tight end, though, is Kyle Pitts. It justifies the Tua selection even more, the double stack with London and Pitts. Gunnar Helm, just because this lobby got a little weird at tight end. A team took 5 of them, and I really wish I kind of took Tyler Warren, but having Tua is also valuable as well. Quarterback versus tight end, an interesting dynamic in this contest. But Theo Johnson closes it out. He does stack up with Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston. We at least have one Giants pass catcher, and we needed tight end 3. So it's solid. I don't know if it's like my favorite team ever, but it has its strengths. It has some weaknesses, but it definitely has a fun starting lineup, definitely can compete every given week. If you're telling me I'm facing you and I have Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart in my starting lineup, at running back, we get Jacobs fully healthy on the field for 80% of the touches. Swift has a blow-up game, and then Tootin finds the end zone. Jefferson and London are in my starting lineup at receiver. And then Pitts hammers home the tight end spot. I think we're in business. I think that's a pretty good starting lineup. Hopefully those names hit at the opportune time. But anything can happen. Let's do a few more team reviews. We have 4 other members of the Blunt Rotation in this lobby. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. Don't want to fall behind too much. And then I'll also take a hit from the pipe. And then we'll set up another Superflex after this. But it's widened today. Gotcha. Yeah, you were on Drafters earlier today. I was like, that can't help you. that can't be good. But we have tomorrow to practice as well. There's still time to do some cramming. I imagine Huhaim's probably going to study up before we go live. But the Jedi Loco is down. Wow. MC Spears, this is a lie. This is also a lie, Peppertoni. No fucking chance you have 60% Beckham. No chance you have 96 on Noah Fant. No fucking chance. But Huhaim's, I'm just going in on CMC for the eliminator and out on everything else. That's a fair stance to take. In full PPR, it's risky, but in half PPR, it's fair. Jedi will be pick 3 in another draft. Hello, Devin. How we doing? You know what? We will also clear mine. Actually, no, I still got multiple rips. I'll take a rip, though, and then we'll do the team reviews. Let's go. That's another element I gotta watch out for tomorrow. I want to go into Best Ball Jeopardy completely sober. I'm not going to be able to smoke during the day, and that's going to be a bummer. That's going to be a bummer. If I get home early, I'm going to be tempted. That's going to be a bummer, but I think if I lock in, it's going to help me out. So that's the plan tomorrow. Play Best Ball Jeopardy totally sober, and then enjoy myself. Hopefully have a victory lap afterwards on the post-game live stream. But what's up, Jaws? How we doing? Cheers to you. I'm doing well, Devin. Enjoying the summer, having a nice time, and trying to manage the schedule. I'm trying to sell a car as well. I got an old car that I'm trying to list on eBay by the end of the month, and time to move on from that. But thanks for asking, appreciate it. But Puff Puff Pass, draft high, play Jeopardy high, gets high score. You would think the correlation is there, but it doesn't always track. Sometimes it doesn't always track. But all right, let's take a look at Peppertoni's team. Speaking of which, he was in this lobby. We got CJ Stroud, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, Carson Beck. The double Arizona, not terrible, but not that exciting. Possibly valuable, though. Maybe they do have the spike weeks like last year. But Stroud and Daniel Jones are not that inspiring as the top two. So good luck. I hope it works out. But obviously, quarterback, you pushed it. You knew the risk you were taking. It was all for the starting lineup. Bijan, Ashton Genty, and Derrick Henry in the starting lineup. That's where it all comes down. Can you advance this type of running back room? Because this can dominate. This can totally crush. You waited until 172 to draft your fourth running back, Sean Tucker and Katron Allen. A very nice strategy. I respect it. Don't love the quarterback room. Beck, that's a legit question. But let's see if you had a stack or you just wanted the points. But we got Tet McMillan. Not that excited, but pick 69 overall is not terrible. Garrett Wilson at 76. Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins, Flournoy, Tank Dell, Pat Bryant, Savion Williams. Not the best receiver room. Not the most exciting. MC, I'm going to push back on this. I think Katron can also win the goal line role in Washington. I think he can easily keep JCM off the field. Katron could be this year's Chris Rodriguez. But you also have Tucker Kraft, Harold Fannin, and Dallas Goedert. So the tight end room is pretty fire. Tight end kind of saves the roster. You can also start 2 in a given week. So helpful, but not the most exciting. 8 points a week. That's not what C-Rod was offering. C-Rod was giving you like a reliable like 13, 14 points every now and then. I'd be worried about Katron's passing game usage. That I expect to go to Rachaad White. But if JCM doesn't keep his job, which he's definitely on the ropes to lose it, absolutely on the hot seat, Katron is there to scoop it up. I think Katron's better than you're giving him credit for. Believe in Katron. Played for Penn State. The leading rusher in Penn State history, that's more than Nick Singleton. Also got drafted this year. And also more than Saquon Barkley. He had more career yards at Penn State than Saquon Barkley. That's something. Means something. He played all 4 years, though. That also plays a factor. Okay, this team is fine. The quarterback position is just gross. And it's just kind of like, I need to be wrong on some takes for this to work out. Running back just might be so good that it does work. But receiver doesn't feel great. Receiver feels kind of mid and kind of desperate, kind of fast. Like, Flournoy is kind of important here, and you actually got him to fall. That might have been a gift. 9 spots in ADP. So good luck with Savion. I don't know how valuable that is, but I think you're going to need more contributions at a tight end than the average team, and that's never ideal. So I think you might have pushed it a little too far. Not drafting a single quarterback until Stroud feels like you're definitely behind the 8 ball. Not easy to come back from. But we mentioned Batwheat is a member. We got Burrow, T-Law, Bryce Young, and Mac Jones. That checks out. That's fine. No issue with that. Mac Jones definitely a valuable handcuff option to Brock Purdy. Had a lot of starts last year. And then all 4 of them have different bye weeks. So that'll help you as well. But Jadarian Price, Chuba Hubbard, Rachaad White, Chris Rodriguez. So doesn't start off strong. But the balancing act, at least there's some depth. It's pretty mid. And then there's also the factor of, like, how quickly would the rookie be involved in Seattle? And then how late into the season will he keep the job and hold off Zach Charbonnet, who inevitably will return to the team, more likely than not. Chuba, you know how I feel. Never excited about that. But I do like the Rachaad White and Chris Rodriguez clicks. They definitely help you. Algier and Marshawn Lloyd are also talented. We'll see how much they play, how many touchdowns they get. But running back could be worse. It's not the best. It's very mid, but it can also carry you to where you need to go if the rest of the team is just elite. So quarterback was solid enough with Burrow and Lawrence, but receiver and tight end better hit. You have Bowers at least. Okay, we're in business. But Lamb and Higgins feels pretty excellent. P-Wash is a polarizing player, not my favorite wide receiver 3, but it's okay. Ricky Pearsall, Travis Hunter, definitely some injury risk, but expecting some year 2 development out of Hunter isn't crazy. And same with Trey Harris, but Pearsall, when healthy, has delivered. Jeremy Bernard, Chris Brazzell, good luck with the rookies. It's not terrible, but I kind of felt like the receiver room might be better. And it's because you took Brock Bowers. Bowers makes this team very, very tough to feel like. There's usually a big hole on the roster when you have a Bowers team. Like, it's just a lot of money to spend on a position that you can fill out so inexpensively. Spears does not like it, but I can see a path. I'm not in love with it. I think I like my team better because the running back room is just not that exciting. The running back room scares me quite a bit. We also had Super Beast in the house, our boy Keith with Herbo, Caleb, and Shador. This can check out. This can work. Shador, especially in this contest, more interesting. Pick 129 versus Tua. I think I'd still rather spend pick 91 on Tua, but Shador could be one of the best values in this tournament. Could start like 10 plus games and might have some big spikes because they got a lot of weapons. They definitely helped him out there. But Herbert and Caleb definitely carry you for the most part. We got Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, Jonathan Brooks, Tyrone Tracy, Emmett Johnson, Mike Washington, and Kimani Vidal. Kimani feels a little overkill. Maybe a few too many late kind of irrelevant handcuffs at running back. I kind of want to see somebody more expensive here. That versus like 2 of these guys, I think the room feels better, but I don't love Tracy very much. Emmett Johnson, injury dependent, same with Mike Washington and Vidal. So in my estimation, you're just really dependent on Brooks working out, or I'm just wrong on Rico Dowdle, and this scares me. Warren is pretty mid. Warren is not the highest touchdown guy either, so good luck with that. I think Chase Brown is really holding it down. But A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, those 2 are elite. Luther Burden, excellent number 3. Rashid Shaheed, so kind of a steep fall off, but some spike weeks. Boston, Naylor, Brandon Thompson, and Jalen Knoll. Pretty decent, but in Superflex, I never love the teams that like are really deep at receiver. Like, you start off with those 3. I think you can stop at 6. 8 doesn't feel too great. Even 7 sometimes feels overkill in this format, but only 2 tight ends, Loveland and Laporta, so that extra pick has to go somewhere else. It went to running back and receiver. I think one of those could have gone to quarterback, whether it's one of the running backs, probably one of the receivers. I think Knoll, because Thompson stacks up. I'll swap out Knoll for a random backup quarterback. I think it's solid. But good luck at running back. We will see. Brett saying I am wrong on Dowdle. Dowdle may not win you the league, but I think he's better than Jalen Warren in terms of total points. I think Dowdle will do what he has done the last 2 seasons, which is run for over 1,000 yards and offer like 250 in the passing game and like 7 touchdowns. I think Dowdle will hit on what he has done the last 2 years once again. I don't think he dominates with like a 1,600 yards rushing. That's, I think, is impossible. Could he maybe score like 14 rushing touchdowns? Maybe, but I think odds are he like sporadically hits with like 7. But the Warren Bros about to learn. I know. The Warren hype has lasted quite a while. It's never really lived up to some of the expectations. There's definitely some water that's been thrown on the fire over there. But lastly, let's take a look at Niners fan Chad at the 112. We'll see what he's got cooking. But Hurts, Love, and Aaron Rodgers, all three starters. I think you can stop there. That's fine. Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Cam Scatterbo, Tony Pollard, Tank motherfucking Bigsby, and James Conner. Elite running back room. Phenomenal. Really, no notes. This is tremendous. This is excellent. But Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Quentin Johnston, one of the best values at 109. Jacoby Myers at 132. Golden at the same bookend. We got Deebo Samuel, Deshaun Stribling, and Tyquan Thornton. So a self-awareness with this receiver room. You waited quite a while. It's not the safest bet up top, but high upside. You need the volume. There's some high-end outcomes any given week with this combination, but I do think 8 was the wise choice. So far, no notes. So far, this looks pretty perfect. We got Juwan Johnson, AJ Barner, and David Njoku. Definitely a viable strategy as well. Yeah, this team is very well built. I legitimately can't complain on any singular pick. Because even Stribling, kind of scary, but then you factor in pick 204, almost 2 full rounds past ADP. No, my bad. That's 12 picks. That's 1 full round. My math was off there for a second. But Tyquan Thornton, above ADP, a very legit pick. Not a single one I can fault you for. So, love the team. Niners fan. It's pretty dope. Okay. We have 14 likes on the video. We got 30 people watching. Would appreciate if you are enjoying this content. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Also, if you're new and you're interested in joining our next draft, if you're interested in Underdog Best Ball piques your interest, promo code BLUNT, the link is in the description, gets you an extra $50 in bonus entries when new customers do sign up. They also get a $1,000 deposit match. You'll get 50% of your first-time deposit matched by the website. So hop into one of these $5 contests, get an extra $50 on the house. Promo code BLUNT down below. We also have 20% off discount. The discount is down below for the Fanspeak Best Ball Guide, and I'm going to be studying up with that probably tonight and tomorrow in prep for Best Ball Jeopardy. Some awesome Spike Week features and a ton of information that will really help you get ready for your redraft season this year, as well as Best Ball strategy notes and excellent coverage over there. Promo code BLUNT, the link is also in the description. I believe you also get access to their Substack. So, a couple promo code BLUNTs, little brief intermission. I hope you can accept the ad break. It's time to move on, though. All right. We are set for the German Shepherd. We're drafting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hope you were ready, Spears. Hope you weren't too busy dropping comments. I get the 102. Excellent. Batwheat's in the house. Niner fan in the house. Game Tight's in the house. Melon Ball's in the house. Not sure if they're watching. But Needy714 pulled the 101. I'm finally on the left side of the board. I almost never get the left side of the board in Superflex. But time to draft. Indeed. I'm excited for this team because it's going to be different. We're going to go with Gibbs probably. I think I will take Gibbs over Lamar Jackson. Johnston has butter hands. The occasional drop happens to everyone. It happens to Xavier Worthy. It happens to plenty of other players. It happens to Brian Thomas Jr. There's a lot of guys that drop the ball sometimes. Sometimes they also catch touchdowns. All right, Allen instantly off the board. I'll just stick to ADP. I'll take Gibbs here at the 102. We'll build out a slightly different build, and we'll still like our quarterback options at the next turn. But how many entries are still available in this? I'm pretty sure it's not that close. We have about 1,000 entrants still available. Let me pull up the board, though. Sorry. Okay. The German Shepherd currently has less than 500 entries left available. We'll get into one more in like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. We'll be like halfway through this lobby and we'll refresh, see if we have time to enter one more German Shepherd. All right. What's up, Fantasy Dog? I missed your message earlier, but all right. Thank you for popping in. Number 12 like. We're up to 20 likes. Appreciate everyone for hitting that like button. And anyone that's new to the channel, welcome in. Thanks for subscribing. But MC Spears, 1K Superflex, let's go. Boy, you are demanding. Is Mac a league winner? I guess you'll have to wait to see if I pick him on this one. Maybe you don't want to give away our picks. I about figured the Niners would deal Mac Jones. More teams valuing holding on to quarterback depth lately, it seems. A. Richardson being shopped might go first. Yeah, Mac Jones, I think, is more likely to be dealt at the trade deadline if they do get rid of him. But odds are they hold on to him through the rest of the season. If not for Mac Jones, the Niners would not have made the playoffs last year. They definitely need the backup, given how injury-prone Purdy has been. So some of them are more valuable than others. Mac Jones is definitely one of the guys you would like to have on the depth chart. But Bowers fell, ultimately hurt the running back room, had to catch up on RB. Yeah. Bowers is a complicated choice. Because even though it feels like a steal, structurally, sometimes it can be tough to come back from. Super flex gets weird with the early tight end picks because you also need a bunch of early quarterbacks. You need at least 2. Ideally, you want 3. Yeah, any of the backup quarterbacks, technically. Some of them more than others. But Mac Jones definitely on the short list. Could go with another running back. Could copy Peppertoni's strategy. I don't think I will, though. I trust Bo Nix quite a bit. Some rushing value. Locking him in as our quarterback 1. I've seen many teams at the 101 take Allen and Bo Nix. So not going to leave that open. For Needy 714. Brett, it's not that I'm off of Dowdle. It's just that I'm slowing the roll on Dowdle. I'm willing to upgrade Pollard a little bit more. I think Pollard's a bit safer. Here, though, quarterback will get kind of disgusting. I'm not as bold as Peppertoni. I still would like 2 quarterbacks when I don't take one in the first round. I'm not confident enough to believe I get a good quarterback 2 in the 4th round. Back end of the 4th, nowhere near as confident as I am in the first half of the 4th round. Like, if I have pick 8, I'm willing to push it, assuming I can still get someone I like at 41 overall. But 47, much different scenario. Quarterback 2 valuable in this contest to fade. But just smoked home slice. All right, my chat filter is kind of glitching. It's going pretty slow. Spears saying, I am Spearfish. Are you in this lobby? I don't see anyone named Spearfish. Unless I'm just like blind right now. But no, I don't see you in here, Spearfish. Zero chance Jones is moved. Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked if they got rid of him. That'd be kind of wild. The price someone's willing to pay, though, might be high enough. But odds are they just get him in free agency the next year and overspend. He's going to make a lot of money next year. That's for sure. He might be like the next Kirk Cousins, possibly. Might actually get paid a shit ton in the open market. Everyone is in the overflow. That may have been the problem with speeding up the 10-second clock, going a little faster. But it is what it is. Yeah, I've never dropped one either, Pepper Tony. Maybe I should be drafted. Maybe I'm a sneaky round 18 sleeper. Shh. Don't wake me up. Don't let the market know that you can get me as a steal in your draft. I'm in the player pool, if you can believe it. The other room is sweaty. Good to know. In the overflow with Pepperoni and Huhames. Good luck, everyone. Good luck over there. This is pretty gross. I don't really want to take Trey McBride. I think I'm going to take Kyron, though. He does catch some passes. He can finish with another 3 receiving touchdowns. They could come at the right opportune time. It factors in a little bit. It's part of his game, but in general, I'm just betting on the Rams offense. And we might not have Puka. We can probably get Adams later. But strong running back build, always a legit way to go. But I use my powers of deduction to figure that out. Yeah, at the moment, I'm definitely Pollard over Rico. It makes more sense. Could go with Travis Etienne here. Could also take Bryce Young or Daniel Jones. I have a lot of Daniel Jones. I'm going to mix in Bryce Young today. Don't feel great about it, but I think for the purpose of exposure, having some of him is definitely worth. You know, there are some weeks where he actually does really deliver. He's played really well against the Atlanta Falcons. Those games in particular, you can expect some level ceiling. But he also has some underrated rushing production. And if he scores not just 1, but 2 rushing touchdowns in a given week, that's also a chance for him to hit the lineup. So there are some reasons to trust Bryce Young, maybe with a full season of Jalen Coker and Chris Brazzell. Maybe Jatavian Sanders finally does something. Their tight end room is kind of irrelevant. If it can actually contribute, then that might be like just the extra little piece where he's not averaging 215 yards every game. It's actually closer to 250. But if he tacks on like 6 rushing touchdowns this year, he'd be a valuable pick. And he's probably going to stay healthy. Daniel Jones, I don't feel as safe predicting that. But it is not a 3-quarterback start. It is actually not. You can start 2. But glad that there's some camaraderie in that other lobby. Good luck to the overfill. There's not a ton of y'all in here, but there's some. Got a Josh Allen Mahomes team in earlier. I already won. Sorry. Huhames. That's a pretty sweet combo. But I won it with Browns and Panthers stack. I remember seeing Huhames, I believe, finish second in one of the weekly contests. with a Bryce Young, Jalen Coker team in the wild card round. I remember Who Hames was at the top of the leaderboard for a minute in that contest and only fell to second place with a Bryce Young, Jalen Coker team in the wild card round. Bryce Young, I believe, is going undrafted that week. But respect to Who Hames. Tet McMillan does not make it back. I was hopeful, optimistic. I never really take Tet. We don't get him today, but it's not the end of the world. I'm not like that upset. We don't get Tet McMillan. Flowers goes. The Lamar Jackson drafter did pass. Coming back around on the clock, I think grabbing receiver would make some sense here, but there are some running backs that we might just not have the same access to ceiling-wise ever again. So I will say Travion is pretty tempting here. Rather tempting. I've got a lot of Ladd McConkey teams, so I'm going to mix it up today. I'm going to go Travion. And let's play for first. We still have a flex spot that can be devoted to running back every week. And 3 in the starting lineup is still probably the way you want to go. More so than needing all of the late round running backs to hit your lineup at the right times. So Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyren Williams, Travion Henderson, the volume, the touchdown, the production is all there. Running back checks out. I still don't have a receiver yet. Passing on Ladd McConkey was a decision. That team didn't take a single running back, but here I still have access to a stacking partner with Bo Nix. I'm going to take Jalen Waddle. I would rather have Waddle than Garrett Wilson. I'm not excited to take Garrett Wilson at all. Give me Jalen Waddle all day. Plus, he's stacked up. It's a pretty sweet option. We get the bring back, now that I think about it, on Travion, week 17. A little added bonus. Totally forgot in the moment, but that's who they play, week 17. And the Patriots defense does have one of the elite corners in the NFL. Christian Gonzalez is no joke, but Waddle, I think, can be manufactured touches, schemed open, expecting a shit ton of volume. He's definitely the stacking partner I would rather have with Bo Nix versus Courtland Sutton or anyone in the offense. I think that's definitely the prime target with Bo Nix. And I said it in the last draft. I think in this context, some people forget to stack with some priority. And it's not like nobody does it, but I think sometimes you read over some teams in this contest, like, where's the stack? It's still best ball, and it's still week 17. So the correlation, the stacks all still matter. It's not the end-all, be-all, but it does help. It does make a correlated bet that feels easier to work out. If one component is right, the other component is therefore more likely to hit. Maybe not double the chances, but even a minor increase on the percentage scale of opportunity is a big difference when you factor in how wide these contests are, how many entries there are in general. Your chances are pretty slim in the first place of not just making the final, but obviously winning and taking down the whole thing. Somebody's going to do it, but any minor advantage can go a long way. A stack is definitely one of those bets. Seven rounds in, I think it's a reasonable time for a smoke break. I will be packing the bowl, and we'll get to it. But I'm not sure if my chat has like completely glitched. Honestly, I haven't gotten a message update in a minute, and I know that can't be right. So sorry if I've ignored the chat. Literally haven't seen a message in like, at this point, 2 full minutes. I gotta refresh that. I've been like, at times there are instances where the chat just is slow, but it's definitely been way too long where something's not correct. Let's make this pick and then get back to the chat. There it goes. Yeah, we were definitely behind. DK Metcalf goes above Roma Dunze. That's pretty interesting. Running back is kind of fallen off, but the team behind me has some options available. DJ Moore is pretty valuable. I think I'm DJ Moore here. I'll take him as my wide receiver number 2. Pick 95. Rome probably gets taken off the board, but the Josh Allen drafter can't be too happy about that. Legitimately forgot you have Allen. Just sticking to the rankings. I'll take DJ Moore over Rome Odunze. Sorry. Cardinal Tate, so you might pass on Rome again. You do. You go Rico Dowdle. That's where I was looking. So I run the risk of not getting a very good running back around the next turn, but we took 3 early running backs, quarterbacks, probably going to stop there. And this fall on Rome Odunze is pretty legit. I'll just take him. Not going to overthink it. We didn't have a single receiver until the 7th round. Waddle stacked up, DJ Moore, and then Rome Odunze. All legit, like 5th round picks going in the 7th, 8th, and 9th in this contest. It's coming together. It's coming together. All right, let me try and estimate where I was when I lost track of the chat. What's up, Hallie Line? How we doing? Appreciate you for popping in. Nice to see you. Waddle stonks shooting up the board. Honestly, I'm worried. I have not been drafting enough Waddle, to be honest. But week 17, so memorized, he stacks without even knowing. Maybe. I just don't really think about it in the moment. I always think about it in hindsight, and it's like, okay, now I've secured the stack. Now I'm going to prioritize that bring back. Who is it? Oh, right, it's the Patriots. Oh, right, I just took a Patriot. I already set it up. But the bye weeks matter. We don't have too many overloaded bye weeks. Our quarterbacks all on different buys, week 10, 11, and 5. Running back, a little bit of overlap. We have week 6 with Gibbs, but then Kyron and Travion are both week 11. And then the receiver room also has a little bit of overlap, Waddle and Rome Odunze. But as long as I don't have like 4 out of 6 in week 10, I think I'm going to be fine. I think we'll be all right. But stack bye weeks win 13 others. Yeah. 1 week is not terrible. Not the end of the world. If it hits every single position on the same week, like 2 of your starters are on bye at every single position, week 11, and you only have like 7 viable players on your bench, like that's not going to work out. That's pretty crazy. But in general, even if I only have like 16 of my eligible players accounting for 1 week, I'm probably really in the clear, even if like 3 of them happen to be like receivers. You know, I'll probably be okay. You don't want to overload it, but there's just inherently going to be some overlap. Right now, weeks 10 and 11, we're a little bit thin, but not enough to panic. Aaron Jones makes it here. Definitely tempting, but my boy Quentin Johnston stared me in the face, and I don't think I can pass this late. After Josh Downs, after Cortland Sutton, pick 119 overall. I know the numbers are just like skewed because of like how Superflex operates, but like compared to where we're taking him in the regular format, like Quentin Johnston versus George Kittle. No offense to the drafter at 101, but I'm not sure that feels correct. At tight end, we're looking at Kelsey. Receiver's still the option, in my opinion. But Aaron Jones makes a lot of sense. I like Chris Rodriguez a lot too. I'm going to go Aaron Jones, though. Until he gets hurt, he will be the RB1. And although we've doubled up on week 6 bye, we have 2 week 11s to compensate. And then hopefully Aaron Jones is healthy week 11. That's not like the safest bet, but I think we'll be okay. But the Watson snipe was wild. Really, Brett? You were sad not to get Watson? I hope it's Christian Watson, not Deshaun Watson. Austin just checking in. Am I doing another draft? Yes, we're going to do one more draft. We're sitting at 23 likes, 45 viewers. And let's ask the audience. Let's get a few more likes, please. I would love if we get to 35 likes. If we get 35 likes, we will lock in draft number 3. And I'll leave it up to the audience. We can do one more super flex. Or we can do... What's the other one? The marathon? Yeah, they're both $5. Every time I've offered the golden, nobody votes for it. So we'll just offer Superflex or Marathon. I would prefer to do Superflex because this contest will fill tonight, probably within a couple hours, if not by the end of this hour. I'll drop the poll. I'll see what you guys think. But Hallie doing well. Just finished a German Shepherd draft a few minutes ago. Wanted to get 1 or 2 more in before it closes. Yeah, hopefully the audience decides that as well. I think we still have a chance. Let me check, see where the draft is currently standing. How many entries are still left? In the German Shepherd. Currently... There's 300 spots left, actually. So at the moment, the Superflex is dominating the poll 7-0. So how about I make these 2 next picks and then we will hop in. We will multi-table because I do not feel confident waiting on the last 300 entries with what? 7 more rounds after these 2 picks? Yeah, we'll enter one more Superflex right after this turn, after these 2 picks. They line up pretty well. I might really piss this guy off. I think I might take Kincaid from him. Kincaid already goes. But I don't have a tight end yet. And I consider it a pretty steep drop-off. So I very much want to have Goddard here. I think getting Kincaid or Goddard kind of saves me. Pretty valuable asset given the build so far. And it checks out. It's fine. Fine with me. But, yeah, the poll instantly went to Superflex. And it's about to fill. So I'll make this pick right after we will hop in. Keaton Mitchell available. Yikes. I think receiver's strong enough. Receiver... Not the move here, but Jalen Coker does stack. You know what? Let's do it. We mentioned Huhames took down a contest, finished second with a Bryce Young Jalen Coker stack. Let's do it today. Slight reach on Coker, but still stacking him makes plenty of sense. Let's do it. All right, speaking of the contest almost filling, let's refresh it. Just to be even more accurate, the German Shepherd, but Superflex, has 22,043 current entrants, and it will close at 22,320. So there are less than 300 spots available. It is a $5 contest. I didn't draft many of them. This will be my 5th. Maximum were 20, so I didn't do a lot of them at all. But I'm going to hop in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Lobby filled pretty much instantly. And we'll just have to multi-table this. I got no issue with that. Just getting it in while we can. And good luck if you made it in this one. We got Hallie Lion who made it. Beck is in here next to me. Shamrock made it. Yo, Shamrock's in the house. Good to see you once again. We got Niners fan. We got the Burgess in here. Batwheat as well. Good luck, everyone. A few other randoms. But maybe Mobster. I might recognize Mobster. All right. So that team is more than halfway done. We're rocking a 3-4-5-1, so going to need some tight ends, a couple running backs, maybe 3, and maybe a couple more receivers, maybe just 1. The receiver room came together pretty nicely over there. But this lobby, we have pick 3. We'll go back and forth between them. We'll see what happens, but only 2 receivers, a big change. Some of the receiver values are crazy compared to what they are in the regular format. But Allen Bijan goes. Another Gibbs team? Sure, why not? Let's do another Gibbs team. Closing out the contest with 2 Jahmyr Gibbs teams. Not bad. I don't know if we're doing 2 more. I think 1 more is probably the vibe. But are you interested in doing a weekly winners draft? Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Definitely worth multi-tabling. But appreciate you, Barry. Looks like we're up to 29 likes. So, like I said, 35 would have locked it in, but kind of just because of the situation, I didn't want to wait. So, go ahead and like the video in hindsight for me. I'd really appreciate it. But I think this is the last draft of the evening. I don't think I'm going to be live much later, past like 10:15. But multi-table 5 more. I guess I could maybe. Here's the thing. If we don't get to at least 35 likes, I will not multi-table another one. I'll tell you that. That would be maybe too overwhelming. And look, we're at 29 likes. 6 more people can decide the fate. I'm willing to do that, but definitely not before we hit the like goal. I don't see the point. Tank Bigsby, we didn't have access to him last time, so not going to fuck around. Just add him to the team. Don't even think about it. But, yeah, Shamrock in at the 101. Love to see it. All right, these are going to overlap, of course. These picks are going to be on the clock at the exact same time. But if Purdy's available, I'll definitely take him. We are on the clock with the other one. I think I'm just going to grab Barner. But Terrence Ferguson stacks. I'm gonna risk it. And then the other one's on the clock. We will go Jared Goff first. I have Gibbs, so the stack with Goff already makes sense. If Amon-Ra makes it back, it's going to be legendary. But the odds that Goff makes it back are kind of slim. Brett Nichols will be too short of maxing. I don't draft too many off stream that aren't in like somebody else's lobby, like another streamer. I'll draft with other streamers, especially like Who Hames or Jiri or Goofy Chicken, for instance, for example. Plenty of other people when they're live, like Roundup. Sometimes I'll get in his lobbies, but off stream I don't do it too often. Round 3. Don't really want to take Stafford again, but it makes a lot of sense. I'll do it. Was the other one just like that? I kind of forget. No, we have Bo Nix and Stafford on this one. But, yeah, we're in 2 German Shepherds right now. Oh, shit. Okay, the chats are not coming up on screen anymore. Gotcha. Damn. All right. Hopefully it's fixed now. There we go. I think I have 100% K-Tron in my 10 German Shepherds. That's a good player to have 100% of. He's so inexpensive, and his high-end outcomes is what JCM offered last year. I think you're in a good spot having K-Tron that high. In a specific time box contest where you can't do too many of them, only 10, I don't think that's crazy. I think that's pretty interesting. But, Spears, I'm going to say this. The chat is not the reason why. You want to blame the chat? Go for it, but that's on you, bud. That's on you. Doesn't smoke weed, doesn't draft teams. What do? Touch grass and spend time with your girlfriend? Total fraud, right? To have any semblance of a life of my own beyond YouTube is crazy, right? Okay. This team, T-Ferg is still there, so just locking him up. Almost reached on him. Glad I took Barner. Didn't fuck with anything. But who blames the chat? Maybe if you're streaming and you have to manage all the different things, but if you choose to enter someone's draft or you're drafting at the same time, it is what it is. But we can have fun. We're always having fun. Not interested in Kate Otten. I've been talking myself into more Marshawn Lloyd lately. Let's do it. Let's draft Marshawn Lloyd RB6. All right. Shit. 4 seconds. I suppose Jeremiah Love is fine. I suppose it's whatever. Pick 46 feels way, way better than pick 23. But, yeah. This is probably the stance, ultimately. Do I want more Arizona Cardinals? That's the question. I don't think so. I don't think I want more of that. Could tack on Kyron again. We did that on a different team. Could grab a receiver before it dries up. Could grab another quarterback. That's also an option. But Bryce Young and Daniel Jones already off the board. Pickens is here. Not too excited about that. We took Kyron on the last one. I think I'd rather go Travis. Not really gamble with a Breece Hall. Let's just get more money in the bank. Travis on a very good offense. Got paid a lot of money. I want to trust the Kellen Moore system ultimately. Might not catch the most passes, but I could still see like 12 plus touchdowns for him. And he also has the skill set where any given week, he can drop 30 points. He can take over. He can score from 50 yards out. He can be the running back you need at the right time. He can finish top 5 and help us win. When it's all said and done, week 17, you might need Travis Etienne against the Atlanta Falcons to win everything. But thankfully the picks are not overlapping this time around. We're coming around on the other one, 7 picks away, and this team is nearly done. Only 3 picks left, round 18. I think I'm done with the 3 quarterbacks I got. Running back could use one more if I really want to, but I think it's also fine to stop there. Receiver needs at least one more. I got 3 clicks. I probably take 2. I think 2 receivers and 1 running back is probably the move here on this one. So Pat Bryant stacks up. Definitely viable. We could get another bring back option with a New England Patriot, but I'm not dying to go with like Kayshon Boutte or anything. I don't really know what to make of him. I have so much of him in pre-draft. It's kind of disgusting knowing he's undrafted now. So I just don't really want to further bet on it when collectively everyone said, nope, we don't want him. I had a lot of him at like pick 165 back in February. Not every pick in February is a good pick in the other direction. But, yeah, I don't want to grab Tank Dell very much. He doesn't seem that valuable. We could tack on a Colby Parkinson if we really wanted to. That's actually not the worst call I could make. But running back, not the best moving forward, so maybe just getting in while it's still a few random clicks still available. I think I'll make the bet on Claiborne. If Aaron Jones really, really doesn't pay off, it's because he gets hurt. When he's active, he's the guy you want in Minnesota, in my opinion. But if he does get hurt, I might be totally screwed. Oh, Tet's here this time. Yeah, I guess I'll take him this time. I don't have much. We did not get Bryce Young. We're going to prevent somebody else from stacking. They might be upset about it, but Tet feels way, way better at 70 overall rather than 40 overall, or even like 37. Tet falling like 30 picks in this contest is pretty interesting. I mean, I guess that's just how many quarterbacks have been taken, but still. Round 7 feels way better on Teteroa McMillan. But the multi-tabling is going fairly well. Nothing too crazy happened. We did kind of time out on Jeremiah Love, but at pick 46, it's whatever. It's not the end of the world. But we'll see what I go with here and then get back to the board. I could take a Fernando Mendoza. We get the bring back Las Vegas versus Arizona week 17. There are some late round options for the stacking partner, but I will say passing on Ladd McConkey feels weird. At 75, I think I'll just take Ladd McConkey. Not going to regret that. I'll tell you, that is not a bad choice. But looks like the chat froze again. I'm having a few technical difficulties here on OBS tonight, but we persist. Let's get the filter up and running this time. But Huhames, in the overflow, I'm taking the best possible round 19-20 picks. Speaking of that, almost forgot I'm about to be on the clock in round 20 here with my final pick. I got 7 running backs. I think I'm stopping at 3 QBs. The tight end room feels decent enough to stop there. Parkinson, though, still available, still an option. Whiteout, though, definitely can contribute. If I time out with Parkinson, it's probably for the betterment of my team. It's probably the Lord stepping in saying, no, you need this. You need this, sir. But you know who I don't have much of in this contest? who I've been trying to take a little bit more of. I'm sure it's a scroll down. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend, the Hall of Famer. Will he sign? Will he not? Could be a true zero. Could just retire, but worth a gamble. Let's take Keenan Allen with our final pick. Brett saying I'm taking the worst picks possible. Sometimes it just happens. But some idiot just took Turpin and Bourne in the overflow. If I had to guess, is that you, Who Hames, or you calling someone out? But Pepper Tony says Tet is a pretty solid pick in my opinion, even with Bryce being less than ideal. It's decent. It's not the most exciting. It's definitely more valuable to me in the 6th round, not the 4th, especially not the 3rd. But I think on this, in this format where you don't have to start 3 receivers every single week, so there are going to be some chances for him to miss the lineup when he just doesn't show up. That I think is a little more appealing to me, where I don't have to count on him as like a true number 1. If anything, Ladd is my real number 1. The ADP's all fucked up in this setting, but Ladd and Tet holding it down. It's always tempting to just get back in at running at receiver because there's always a bunch from there. But like, really, I'm gonna take Chuba here. Ugh. Pick 94. Brissett fell dramatically. You know what? Fine. I'll take Brisket. I'll take Brisket for once. We have an Arizona Cardinal. Oh, this feels bad. This damn it. Might have just really fucked up there. Yeah, in hindsight, that feels terrible. But going receiver didn't really pique my fancy. Wasn't the most interesting thing to do. And then Chuba also feels gross. There were really no positive outcomes there, other than just like loading up with like Christian Watson. But Rome circles back. Could go Tucker Kraft, though. That's not bad. But I passed on Chuba. Getting back in at running back kind of also speaks to me. I'm going to go Jonathan Brooks here. That's why I passed on Chuba, because Jonathan Brooks is just worth more. When you're in doubt on how the team is actually going to turn out, just take the massive gamble on a player like Jonathan Brooks, where, like, if he sucks, then you probably just screwed your team. But, like, you know, if your team was screwed, he has the chance to save it. There's also that chance as well. So this team got a little bit off the rails there with the Brissett selection. I do not feel great about it. Even 14 picks past ADP. I'm not too happy about that. Not my proudest moment on the stream, but definitely some room for improvement with a Brisket selection. But Brett took A-Rich, pretty terrible myself. I wouldn't say so. In round 20, and Anthony Richardson feels way better than a Brisket round 8. Round 8 versus 19. They might both have like 25-point games. That might happen for both of them. With Richardson, it might be later in the year. It might be more valuable. But Matt McLean says, would have taken Tet with my pick, but not overly concerned about not getting him either. Are you Mobster 89? If I had to guess, that makes sense there. But taking another Carolina Panther, so furthering the bet on that team. But Hallie said I wanted Rico, but he went right before me. Rico did go to Batwheat at 91. Who Hames just landed JJ and Genty on DK. I don't know anything about their ADP. I have no idea if that's great or not. Seems like it's achievable if you have like pick 11 or pick 12 and in Underdog typically. So that doesn't sound too crazy. I imagine maybe in full PPR it might be different. Brett got Brooks at 124 in the overflow draft. Damn. Shamrock would have taken Brisket. He had Trey McBride, though. It makes more sense to take him with McBride than Jeremiah. You know, I have a Cardinal, but I don't think I have the Cardinal you want to stack. I got Ladd on this team, but taking Quentin Johnston feels pretty viable. The Dobbins fall, however, is kind of precipitous. There's no one remaining behind him that checks out. And Dobbins going to help me advance just on sheer running back points. I think I can honestly stop with these 5. I actually think I could stop if I wanted to. So maybe I load up with like 5 receivers. Get to 7 pretty quickly. Mix in a valuable tight end every now and then, but not force it. And then maybe I can afford like a 5th quarterback even. Because tight end always finds a way. Finds a way to piece it together. Running low on receiver options, though. I kind of like the idea of taking Kittle here. But I think this price on Jaden Reed is pretty appealing. I'll just take Jaden Reed at 123. Was really hopeful that maybe I could get Quentin Johnston, but once I took Dobbins, I just knew wasn't going to happen. But Dobbins 118 feels pretty valuable. All right, we got a 3-5-3-0 cooking up so far. An interesting roster with a lot invested at running back. I think it's worth stopping at 5 there. I think I'm done at running back. But quarterback, pretty interesting with Goff and Stafford. Pretty decent floor there. But then Brissett going to help me out in the early season. Who knows how long he stays the quarterback. But it feels like with a lack of wins, that's a pretty safe bet to make. Brissett is going to have a short leash. I can't imagine if they're 1-6, he spends that much more time on the field. It's a new coach, it's a new GM. Next year, you know they're trying to draft someone. They're kind of tanking when you really look at what they're trying to do, who they have on the roster. They have some good weapons, though. Their defense possibly underrated, but if you told me the Cardinals drafted Arch Manning next year, I wouldn't be shocked at all. In fact, that I think is probably their most likely plan of attack on how to compete in their division. Luck into a good quarterback, and if it's Arch Manning, it probably works out in the long term. Most likely. But from the 12 hole, did you win? Are you big Bezo? You're in a different lobby, Spearfish. But you got Bucky and Beischel at running back. That's not the worst outcome. Okay, Isaiah Likely circles back. We're at pick 142. It's not the steepest fall. If anything, this Wandell price might be more valuable to me. But I don't have a tight end yet. Fuck it. I'll go Isaiah Likely. We'll do that. There was kind of no way I got access to Goddard or Likely with my next pick. In my opinion, that was pretty critical. Mobster didn't have a tight end either, so scooping it up while available, I think, is the move. But Woody Marks goes. We'll see what Mobster does here. Maybe I played it correctly. I get a Wandale on the way back. Not the steepest fall imaginable. Only 4 picks. He goes Coker. Sweet. I didn't have Bryce Young on this one, so let's grab Wan'Dale Robinson. He gets his Bryce Young stack. Very fair. Very fair strategy. All right, this team is coming together. Glad I got at least one tight end with some like truly elite upside on that one. Likely might just suck though. Likely might actually not be very viable. But all right, looks like we hit 35 likes. Let's see if this contest is still open. Holy shit, it might be. We are in the last 112 entries of the German Shepherd. It's still open though. The 20-second timer is available. And I'm deep enough into the other draft where I'm willing to multi-table. So I'll give you guys a 10-second countdown. I'm going to go at an average speed. Hopefully it's an exact 10 seconds. We are drafting in this German Shepherd, but Superflex. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 5 spots. If you want one, come down and get it. MC Spears, you got to be ready for it, man. It's you still have 2 spots available. If you want it, there's still 2 chances. One more spot. One more spot. But let's pivot back to the other lobby, shall we? Let's see what's happening. One more spot available in the Superflex lobby. All right, so after Wan'Dale, we have Higgins, Diggs, and Omar Cooper off the board. We got Chig and Gadsden as well. And then Keaton Mitchell versus Wan'Dale Robinson, only 4 picks apart. That's interesting, but I get pick 5 in this one. Spearfish does make it. MC Spears putting his money where his mouth is. Let's see what happens. We got the Burgess in here at the 101, Super Beast, Sal, 1122, Spearfish right next to me. Underdogs, Anonymous, A-Rod has pick 6, Batwheat, pick 7, Nazek at pick 8, and then Beck, 27, pick 9, Gilby, Niners fan, and then BBN, Jville to round it out at pick 12. But I'll be on the clock in 2 picks here. We will manage both lobbies just the same way. So I don't have anyone to really justify taking Carson Beck. I'm not that invested in the Arizona Cardinals, so tight end, I'm kind of worried about falling off a cliff, to be honest with you. I don't need a running back, so Bigsby, even though he's in contention, just doesn't really fit the roster the right way. He always fits the roster, but like he's a luxury pick right here. I think rounding out my bench at pass catcher is more important. Leaving Carson Beck for someone else to take. A fine move. But 2 picks left. Hopefully he doesn't overlap with my other pick. But even if I auto-click on that other one, I'm not going to hate it. I don't think I'm on the clock yet. Over there. Jalen McMillan made it back. Definitely my favorite receiver in this range. Don't need running back. Don't want Kenyon Sadiq. So either him or Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker. Interesting clicks, but ultimately McMillan is the one I like and trust the most. Let's definitely take him at 171. I am on the clock. I took Bijan at pick 5. Like I said, if I auto at the 105, that's fine. That's not the end of the world. I'll live with it. Okay. So all 3 of these teams were starting with running back in the first round. We're going to have to go quarterback with our next 2 picks. That's definitely the move for sure. But all right, let me try to catch up with the chat. Let me close the poll because we're definitely done entering lobbies. Let me at least show you one of the boards. Holy shit. Brett says missed it, but we'll do one more, I guess. Spears is starting to drink even more. Getting late into the night, so that's going to help our EV. But Austin Burgess says Drake May 101. That's a stance to take. Is that what happened in the other one? Honestly, haven't even paid attention. But hope I get a softer room. I did. I got enough sweaty streams so far. Yeah, you really never know what's going to happen in a streamed lobby. But, okay, let's check in. Oh, yeah, the Burgess did take Drake May at the 101. And maybe Super Beast just didn't realize, just queued up Gibbs and let Allen fall to 3. Wow, Allen at the 103 is pretty crazy. I wish I had the 103 and auto-clicked Allen. That would have been lit. But we get Bijan to pick 5. It's also pretty sweet. No issue with that. But about to be back on the clock. I got to go quarterback, I think. I think that's really important that I take quarterback here. Purdy is available. I'll probably take him. He gets sniped. So I could go Taylor. 5 spots past ADP. That's kind of interesting, actually. Kind of want to do it. Fuck it. We let it ride. In honor of Pepper Tony, who went, what was it? Bijan, Genty, and Henry. We go with Bijan, Taylor, and I probably take a quarterback in round 3. I probably chicken out in round 3, but on the clock in the other one, we are still needing tight end points. We have Stafford again, so I think Ferguson makes plenty of sense stacked up again. The fall on Juwan Jennings is notable. It's about 20 spots. Actually, I think it's far enough for me to take him. It's a 25 pick fall on Juwan Jennings. ADP 174.6. We got 190 on Juwan. A 2-round fall. Even more than that. I may not get Terrence Ferguson, but according to ADP, it lines up where I still get him. We'll see what happens. But the other team is about to be on the clock. This one can't push it any further. Man, I might get stuck with Jordan Love. That'll suck. No, I get stuck with Baker. Even better. I get to bring back the Falcons and Saints. I'm going to go Tyler Shuck, actually. And then I'm on the other clock on this one. Ferguson's still here. Yeah, easy click. There we go. Multi-tabling at its finest there. Definitely a brain overload if you're not paying attention. But, all right, let's read off the team. That was round 17 in this one. So, not going to show you too many picks. I'll probably just do that in the background and let you know what it came down to. But Goff, Stafford, and Brissett. Definitely want another quarterback, but Gibbs, Jeremiah Love, Travis Etienne, Jonathan Brooks, and J.K. Dobbins. I think we can get away with those 5 stopping there. And then we got Tet, Lad McConkey, Jaden Reed, Wandell Robinson, Jalen McMillan, and Juwan Jennings. Tight end with Likely, Dalton Schultz, and Terrence Ferguson. Decent. I could honestly use another tight end possibly. I wouldn't hate it. I for sure want one more receiver. I think we have 3 clicks left, so those 2 could really help me, and then one more quarterback, definitely the move. We'll see what happens, but okay. Back to our new draft. This is the one that's only in round 4. I think I'm going to try and lock in and not really show you the other lobby too much. But Keith, auto-click Gibbs. Wow. Yeah, I know, right? Holy shit, man. To have Allen at the 102 and pass is pretty crazy. But Bijan JT start. It could be what you need. It's possible, but no regrets landed the Lions triple pack. That's also kind of lit. But Allen at 102 feels pretty sweet. Glad it worked out for you. Could have definitely been worse. Coming back around, what quarterback will be available? Not many are going to be lasting this far. Probably looking at Cam Ward here. I could go Daniel Jones, but not really the best stacking partner with Jonathan Taylor. I think I'm going to trust Cam Ward. Definitely a bunch of stacking options, and I can leave Drake London alone. I think I just need quarterback. Let's go Cam Ward here. At 44. Reached on Tyler Shuck, but we get to bring back the Saints and Falcons game. Does have some value. All right, let's pivot back to the board. And then my other roster is almost on the clock. But I will say, if the Burgess passes on a double tap at quarterback here, I might get another solid option. I might just take one in the 5th, depending on who's there. But he goes Bryce Young. If Daniel Jones can make it back, I'll probably take him, but I don't really expect it to happen. Even if Burgess doesn't take him, I think Super Beast probably will. He goes Mendoza. Paired up with Genty, not bad. On that other team, I'm grabbing Dontavian Wicks in round 18. My 7th receiver. I'm probably done at that position now. Daniel Jones does come off the board here, though, at pick 50. And I could get back in at receiver. I don't really want Trey McBride, but Rashee Rice is pretty valuable. Unstacked, it's not my favorite click, but getting Chris Olave could really benefit the team. The stack with Tyler Shuck further justifies the selection, but we're going to be stronger at running back. But Jeremiah Love falls all the way to pick 54. I took him on the other one at what? 46? You know what? Fuck it. We'll do that. But the other team timed out. I actually got stuck with Eli Stowers on the other team. One of my least favorite clicks. The multi-tabling finally got to me. I stepped away. They overlapped. Got Eli Stowers on the other roster. Bummer. Never like taking Stowers. But I suppose a random share here or there won't be the worst. But Bijan Taylor Genty start. Hope I can get quarterbacks. I mean, same here. I mean, I may have made a mistake not taking another quarterback right there in the 5th round, but Shuck and Cam Ward maybe enough. We'll see. Wish me the best. I will need some solid depth. It's worth a risk every now and then. A pretty good fall on Jeremiah Love as well. If he does hit, it's worth it. But this team might be very dead already. Might be kind of buried at quarterback. Enough to panic. But we'll see. Yeah, good luck getting your shares of lemon, sugar, and flour. Everything to make your lemon bars. Good luck getting a share early and often. But Brett pointing out Bowers at 52 in the other lobby. Holy shit. In this one, Bowers went 39. So that's a steep fall. 13 more picks. That's notable. I'm thinking through my other team, though. I might just take Richardson on that other one. Not totally sure, but this team probably in the market for receiver. Chris Olave goes, so I was optimistic that maybe I could get a gift, but expecting him at 68 was probably naive, probably not going to happen. Scatabo would have been fun, but T. Higgins is still here. Fuck yeah, I'll take T. Higgins. Holy shit. That is a massive discount on T. Higgins compared to... Really? He goes after Geno Smith? Holy shit. Damn, I'm glad I took Jeremiah Love there to still have T. Higgins on the board. That's pretty sweet. And with the final click of my other draft, I did take Richardson. Let me show you guys that team really quick. So this was the team we were multi-tabling. We had pick 3. We took Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Brissett, and Anthony Richardson on this one. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, Jeremiah Love, Travis Achan, Jonathan Brooks, and J.K. Dobbins. We also have Ted McMillan, Ladd McConkey, Jaden Reed, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen McMillan, Juwan Jennings, a really nice fall on Juwan Jennings, and then Dontavian Wicks as well. Isaiah Likely, Dalton Schultz, Terrence Ferguson, and Eli Stowers. So kind of a contrarian bet on the Eagles pass catchers. I draft a lot of them, but back on the clock with this team. So back to business. Probably just going to grab Baishal Tootin before the massive fall off. We got our first receiver in T. Higgins, so I'll go Baishal Tootin. Just keep hammering running back. You can start up to 4 any given week. If you're telling me I have all 4 of these running backs in the lineup, it's probably pretty sweet. And I might need it a little bit more often than you would think. Tyler Shuck, Cam Ward, not the best duo for Superflex. But I'm going to turn off my fan. I'll be right back. I'll come back in just a sec. It's been a minute, though, since we've taken a rip from the pipe. Little smoke break. It's definitely time. All right. Finishing my beverage as well. And we're no longer multi-tabling. We're locked into our final draft of the evening. And we are set. I'm going to let you know, because of the multi-tabling and because of the pivots into different lobbies, if you were in either this draft, the previous one, or the second draft of the night, I think we did 4 total. If you're a member and you would like a team review, please drop a comment. I can get to it when it's all said and done at the end. I think we're going to wait until this one to be over, hit some team reviews. But yeah, members, if you missed out on some previous lobbies just for the sake of time, I'll push them all to the very end, and I'll get them in by request for the members of the Blunt Rotation. But, is there a team here that only has 1 quarterback? I have Cam Ward, that is. Not going to take Chew, but Rome is still here. Similar situation that happened earlier, but I have Cam Ward, so I think I'm going to prioritize Carnell Tate. I think that stack is pretty valuable here. T. Higgins, Carnell Tate, and Tate is stacked up with Cam Ward. I can probably also justify Jordan Tyson as well right here. That's not too bad. Not bad either. We'll see what wraps back around, but Tyson would definitely make some sense on this build. Because running backs coming together really nicely. There's not that much necessity to hit the bench at running back too much. Tyson does go at 96, so not going to happen on this team today. But a pretty valuable stacking partner if you can get him. I'm not upset, though. We miss out on Tua, so I might overload on some handcuffs. I might draft like 5 quarterbacks total, given our situation. I wouldn't hate that entirely. There's some backups I favor more than others, though. Depends on what happens. But if I go Rico Dowdle here, it would be a 4-pick fall. Not that much, but there's no other player that really feels very compelling. I'm definitely stopping here with 5, but fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it. They all have different bye weeks, so that's pretty sweet. Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Jeremiah Love, Baishal Tootin, and Rico Dowdle. Some tremendous upside with some risk. Like, Jeremiah Love really fits this type of build really nicely. Like, there is only the cream of the crop with Jeremiah Love in this type of contest, in this type of room. When he contributes to the lineup, it's the weeks where he goes over 25 points. It's the week where it has an 80-yard house call. It's the week where he scores 2 touchdowns and has like 7 receptions in garbage time. It's a week where he just takes over, and the weeks where he's just failing to hit the end zone, really struggling, you're not forced to actually start him on a team like this. We're going to have plenty of other options. He can hit the bench enough where I'm not worried about it. But, no, if I had to guess, the contest's already full by now. But, no, I think we're going to be done with this one. But Barry says, guy at 12 has the most ass quarterback room. In this one, he's got T-Law, Caleb, and Malik Willis. I wouldn't say that's terrible. There are some flaws with it, but I wouldn't say it's ass. Malik Willis could actually be one of the most valuable quarterbacks on the market. I don't want to say that with conviction, but it is possible. But yeah, Keith, definitely. Please and thank you. We'll get it. We'll get it in. Week 17, we will know who won the pod. Technically, we're going to know who won the pod week 14. Not just technically, but literally. Shamrock, appreciate that. That other one, I wasn't totally sure. Honestly, once I entered the multi-tabling aspect, things start to go by the wayside. Things get weird. But that didn't happen too much. That didn't happen too much tonight. There were a couple instances, but maybe only 2 auto clicks because of that. One of them was Jeremiah Love at 45. Another one was Eli Stowers in the 19th round. But you got it, Who Hames. You got it. Send me the link and the timestamp. You got it. You can find it for me. I'll do it. I shit you not. If you send me the link and the timestamp, I'll do it. But fuck, this is kind of brutal. I think I'm just gonna take Sam Laporta. I've been kind of avoiding some of the like elite tight end builds in this contest, and I think it's definitely a value. Laporta 116, pretty sweet. Fannin at 109. I don't know about that, but I've noticed despite some falls in prices, like Lemon 115 versus Laporta 116 is kind of crazy, but tight end is still valuable in this format. You can start 2 of them, maybe even 3 of them any given week, I suppose. But I don't think that's the path for success. It's just like maybe you don't want to completely ignore it. Receiver, it makes sense why it gets less valuable. You only have to start 2, not 3. But Batwee, I'll just wait for review for the draft that we are on now. You got it, bro. You are at the 107, and we will take a look when it's over. But Brett, here's another draft. Gotcha. That 8th round was only Cam Ward. That's tough. I don't know about that. That's for the bold. I'm not really willing to go that far. Locking up volume here is pretty critical. I never take Wilson. I think I'm just going to take Josh Downs. I kind of want to take Wilson there, but it would feel pretty brutal to have another Arizona Cardinal on the team. Not going to fall for that. Give me another Colt. That I can tolerate for sure. That's pretty obvious where the ball's going to go. It's either Taylor, Pierce, Warren, or Downs. Maybe not in that order, but Pierce with some question marks in health. Downs is pretty safe. And nobody really factoring in other than the rumors on Keenan Allen, the chance that Devo fills that role. They might bring in someone in free agency. There is that factor. But at the moment, Downs seems to be a decent bet. But Spears loved the Kraft stack there. If you have Jordan Love, it's definitely more appealing to have Kraft. That is for sure. But filling out my running back room, the first one in the lobby, that's never a bad plan. Sometimes you can do it too early, but I think as long as I stop with 5, being the first to 5 running backs is definitely a strength. Usually a good bet for advancing. Running back is a position that you would rather have the best room than the worst one. But Slayton, oh my God, the Superflex is over. Yeah, the contest they dropped last Friday, all filling very quickly. If I had to guess, the marathon is not going to last very long. The marathon might not be even live this time tomorrow. Might miss it for tomorrow's live stream. But we're going to be live with the Fanspeak Network at 6:30. I might go live earlier. I might do that just to make sure I refresh my memory just a little bit. But I think missing some bullets is not the end of the world. It's nice to max, but it's not the end of the world if you didn't have time to do all of them. Okay, being in a position where I don't need to worry about the last few rounds, I can just take 3 quarterbacks, rounds 18, 19, 20, and not think about it, I think would be pretty sweet. Andrews is here, falling 7 spots. Wandale's also here. Last round we pushed Wandale, it worked out. I'm going to go Andrews and gamble it happens again. If I didn't have Carnell Tate, I think I would be insta-clicking Wandale there because I do have Cam Ward. But with Carnell Tate, to bet on both of them in the same week doesn't feel like the best bet. It's kind of just like on the season, all of the main targets in Tennessee will be accounted for. But having the double stack, I think, might be a little overrated. It's not the end of the world not to have it. So more of a discount on Andrews per ADP and building out the roster with very competitive tight ends is not a bad move. My receiver room is thin. No question about it, but we can still attack volume at a position that usually gets really depleted in the ADP. Also, there's a chance that I can still draft someone that will be better than Wandale Robinson on the season. Spearfish on the clock. I think by taking Andrews there, I'm not forced into going Okonkwo or any of these other tight ends. It's definitely a different tier for me on some of these players. Also, I love Andrews for another added bonus. If you do make the final with Andrews, he plays the Bengals, which last year was by far and away like the most obvious start spot for any tight end they typically crushed against the Bengals. So if that holds true another season, it would be Andrews and one of the most excellent upgrades in terms of matchups you can find. The Bengals give up a shit ton of touchdowns to the tight end position every week. It was, I believe they gave up 22 different touchdowns last year. It was like around 20. It was crazy. But Brett not being bullied, but I will draft 4 quarterbacks last 4 rounds to end with 5. Are you in this lobby, Brett? There's nobody with only 1 so far, so you are in a different lobby. But in Superflex, this is always a good plan. Barry picks DFS. That comment was for the 3rd draft. Guy had Caleb and Deshaun Watson. Ooh. That's a little thin. That I wouldn't want to be stuck with. But it's just like in Green Bay for Willis, except for the coach, the line, the pass catchers. You know, the boring stuff. When it comes to Deshaun Watson or someone, like, honestly, I'm not totally sure. This I can get behind, though. Loadable. You know what? 0. Yeah, let's just fucking light it up. I have one ready. Let's go. Let her rip. Let her rip. On the clock here, wide receivers the move. I could go Travis Hunter, but rather have Jalen McMillan. I think it's much safer. I'll go McMillan. I think I just need guaranteed reps first. Given the build, the safer nature of McMillan, higher upside as well. Like, McMillan might just be like running 90% of routes in Tampa Bay. There's no way Travis Hunter's running that much. The higher ceiling's definitely McMillan for total points. Any given week, maybe Travis Hunter can spike. Definitely possible. Look at his game against the Rams last year in London. The man had about 20 points in half PPR. But McMillan can also score from deep. Definitely good chemistry developed with Baker. My team definitely needs wideouts, so I value him more. I'll stick to my rankings. We got Trey Tucker would have been nice for sure. I think if I take Barner, I can just stop at tight end and live with it. But why not just further build out the Titans stack? Let's go Gunnar Helm instead. Barner's valuable, but there's also a potential year 2 breakout on Gunnar Helm. Maybe some touchdown regression for Barner. He had 7 total last year. Maybe it comes back down to like 3. With Barner, he adopts some of the Chigokonkwo role. Brian Dable comes in the mix. Definitely likes to throw to the tight end position in the red zone. Look at Theo Johnson last year. Gunnar Helm might actually be a better pick. It's stacked up, so it's definitely justified. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I plan to grab 3 quarterbacks to close out the draft. We're going to get a little bit weird and attack it with volume. Because of that, I want my starting roster, every other position, to be pretty well built. The running back position is done with 5. Tight end, I think, is now done with 3. We got 2 more receivers coming up, 3 quarterbacks. We're going to rep a 5-5-7-3 on this last draft in the German Shepherd. But Shador as the second quarterback is also disgusting. I would not want that. Not at all. But, damn. My chat is kind of tweaking. It was lagging and then it just fucking caught up. There's a bunch of messages. But honestly, I'm kind of like all over the place. I'm kind of not really tracking everyone's message, so. I'm having a hard time. We also drafted for like an hour and a half with Jiri earlier. Maybe. I'm just too high, but I'll take Trey Harris. We need some points. We mentioned 2 receivers to close it out. One of them will be Trey Harris. Happy with that all day. I think what's thrown me for a loop is all the comments on like a different draft in a different lobby. That's where I'm like, I don't know how much I can really focus on this, but let me just like scroll down. How old is Andrews? He's not 42. That's definitely not the case. I think, yeah, 31 sounds correct. He's not that old. He's just had some weird injuries. He had that car accident. That was very strange. But the Ravens told you what to believe. They plan to use him They let go of Isaiah Likely. There's no real competition for him. They did not bring in David Njoku despite the rumors. Unless you're worried about Darren Waller, Andrews is the man in Baltimore. And typically in the red zone, that's the preferred target, not Zay Flowers. Now, maybe moving on from John Harbaugh might change that. There have been some instances where Andrews drops or just doesn't deliver in the red zone. But historically, he's money in the bank for touchdowns. All right, about to be on the clock. Our last receiver pick, I think, is the move. Just isolate that position, not really think about anyone else. The stacking partners aren't the best. Jeremy Bernard, though, gives me the bring back, and he's definitely a player I kind of like. So I'll go Jeremy Bernard as wide receiver 7. We got T. Higgins, Carnell Tate, Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Jalen McMillan, Trey Harris, and Jeremy Bernard. It came together well enough. I think it is pieced together nicely. We're also not counting on more than definitely 3 receivers in our starting lineup any given week. 2 would be ideal because our running back room is really balanced and studded out. Like, there's no holes in the running back room, even with Jeremiah Love. But tight end is also pretty lit, so that can contribute. We don't need too many viable weeks, and there isn't... Oh, no, there's one double bye week, Carnell Tate and Jeremy Bernard. We'll see what Stephon Diggs ends up getting, but the bye week's not an issue, so very balanced. Running back doesn't have a single bye week duplicate, and it's just a matter of what can I do with the quarterback position. We got Tyler Shuck and Cam Ward. On paper, that is not enough, but we got 3 rounds left. It's devoted to that position. Let's lock in. Let's draft some of these randos. Let's draft some handcuff quarterbacks. There's been about 60 quarterbacks that have started at least one game, like the last 3 years. It's been an anomaly, but the league is pivoting to late in the season especially. They like to see what they got in some young quarterbacks. Injuries play a factor. Not many quarterbacks play all 17 games. It's pretty rare. But is Diggs an auto draft? I mean, especially at 149, 1 pick after Juwan Jennings. Yeah, definitely taking him there. That's crazy. Didn't I just get Juwan Jennings at like 194? He goes 148 to MC Spears. What the fuck? What the fuck was that, bro? That was a terrible pick. Juwan Jennings at 148? Holy shit. That's wild. No way to shake it. That's wild. All right, Underdog Anonymous has Daniels and Brock Purdy. Might be in a similar boat to me. Might grab a quarterback here. Might round it out with 3 clicks himself. He goes Mariota. I'm going to go... I do think Justin Fields will get some run. I do think there's going to be, especially early in the year, a chance that they do like to lean on Fields a little bit. If he ever does get a start, I think he'll be really productive in the Andy Reid system. I think he's going to run like crazy if that happens. And I know that some of the other quarterbacks I'm going to be drafting are probably going to offer me some upside later in the year, whereas Fields is one of those few handcuffs that might be the most productive in the early season, because you know that Mahomes off the surgery with a week 5 bye, they want to have him ready for week 1, but they might not force it. And if he does get banged up mid-season, I wouldn't be shocked if he misses a random game. I think ideally, though, once Mahomes gets on the field, he doesn't want to come off the field. So I could see Justin actually get some starts early in week 1, possibly through week 4. September could be valuable for him. And with the volume I'm planning to attack it with, you know, if he comes in down the stretch, he'll be very productive, but getting 2 more that I think are more likely to hit late in the year, mixing it up in terms of which weeks they actually contribute. But wishful thinking on Justin Fields. Obviously, if Mahomes is good to go, he's not going to sit. So Fields might be worthless. Richardson could also be worthless, but you know who's really fucking good and has a very injury-prone quarterback? Joe Flacco is an excellent pick. I'm taking Joe Flacco in Superflex all day. Give me the Bengals quarterback, and it's definitely him over Jake Browning. No doubt about it. If you look at the weeks last year where Flacco took over, he was actually averaging about 19.1 points per game. That would qualify as a top 10 quarterback. He was excellent when he was the guy in Cincinnati. He's got elite weapons. He don't give a fuck. Jamar Chase is down there somewhere. If he's covered, T. Higgins is open. So he's chucking it like crazy. We can expect 40 pass attempts whenever Joe Flacco takes the field. He probably plays like 4 games. Most likely, Joe Burrow doesn't play a full season. Burrow usually suffers some weird tweak. If we get through all of training camp and Burrow is good to go for week 1, I would be shocked. He always has some weird shit crop up every single offseason with Burrow. It's like clockwork. Misses some time later in the season. He probably takes a seat as well. With the luxury of Flacco, if anything happens, they're going to be cautious. So I think he's an excellent pick in this, especially if you need some random weeks. Barry says Andrews feels like 38. He does feel much older than 30. I will say, he definitely feels older. I think the car accident may have aged him kind of significantly. But I hope I didn't snipe you there. I may have. I have no idea, but Batwheat did. Bummer. All right, about to be on the clock. I'm not going to go J.J. McCarthy. I'm not interested in that. I have too much invested in Kyler Murray to do that. Here, though, there's a voice inside my head that says Dak Prescott is going down this year. I do not trust Dak very much to hold up all season. Dak has been flip-flopping on healthy 1 year, out the next year, 5 games this year, 15 that next year, 7 games this year, 17 this year. Dak is yo-yoed a bit, and you're telling me Joe Milton doesn't have a fucking cannon? We got the running upside of Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, volume monster, and then Joe Milton also with elite weapons, can run the ball. Going to be an interesting fantasy quarterback for sure. Could totally throw for 300 plus in any given Sunday. But we're still really trusting Tyler Shuck and Cam Ward. These last 3 are fun, but if they hit my lineup, something may have gone drastically wrong, or very, very right, very correct. If they hit the lineup, though, 30 points isn't crazy to expect. But running back is really the engine for this team. We got Bijan at pick 5, Jonathan Taylor at pick 20, Jeremiah Love at pick 53. That was a pretty good fall. Baishal Tootin at 77, Rico Dowdle at 101. Those 5 can absolutely be a nightmare to handle. You don't want to really be facing them in the fantasy playoffs. Jeremiah Love has an excellent playoff schedule as well. If I can carry him there, we're in business. But T. Higgins holding it down. Also stacked up with Joe Flacco. I actually forgot about that. Legitimately forgot about that. Carnell Tate stacked up with Cam Ward. Excellent. Josh Downs, volume monster at 125 should pay off. Stephon Diggs, we assume his ADP rises. There's still 2 months. Who knows where he signs, but he seems like the most coveted free agent. And with Ayuk burning bridges, feels pretty safe to assume he's the Commanders' top option, unless they just bring back Debo. But Jalen McMillan, love his value. Think he's a breakout candidate. Trey Harris as well, definitely a breakout candidate. if they don't re-sign Keenan. And then Jeremy Bernard offers a bring back with Cam Ward week 17 and does have some upside in the Mike McCarthy system, probably running 11 personnel, a little bit more this year in Pittsburgh. But Laporta, our elite upside tight end, Andrews with some good matchups, maybe not the best tight end imaginable, but a pretty good bet for double-digit touchdowns. Historically, he's one of the most likely candidates to offer that. But Gunnar Helm stacked up with Cam Ward, another breakout candidate, young tight end. This team's pretty interesting. I like this team a lot. Obviously, quarterback is the big gamble, but if I'm fine with it, if I'm right about Tyler Shuck offering more value than Baker, he might have top 12 upside. Cam Ward could be a top 20 player, and who knows, we might just get the right random weeks with these three handcuffs. But wish me luck. I think it's a worthwhile bet to make. And in the running back room, if I make the playoffs, good fucking luck against this running back room. I could definitely see this team advancing. Especially if you told me like Flacco took over down the stretch. Milton is the guy. One of the few teams with those players could be interesting. All right. The chat, I'm refreshing it, trying to get it set back up, but good to see the MC won. Congrats. Chat and weed costing 4 picks. It's always somebody else's. Someone else is to blame. But yeah, you won anyway, so it's all good. Quinn Ewers, Riley Leonard, fuck that. Hell no. Hell no. Andrews had the car accident that year, but also had tightrope surgery, which is rough. I think that was more so the start of his decline. Yeah, there was also the hip drop tackle that he was very up in arms about. There's a world where he's just not enough to get it done. Him and Kelsey, both the Ravens and Chiefs, are making a big bet that they're just actually still the same guy, still the same athlete. And while I think the bet is pretty secure on Kelsey, he's made it this far and still been pretty productive, hasn't fallen off. Andrews has shown signs that you can't trust him, but the team trusts him. Ultimately, that's kind of the main bet. And then if he does make week 17, holy shit, we get the bring back as well, the T. Higgins, Joe Flacco bring back. There were multiple reasons to take him there. He was a nice faller, that's for sure. He fell 7 picks. That's worth something. But yeah, the Joe Flacco, Joe Milton, both league winners. That's a good strategy. Yeah, the double Joe never hurt anyone. But MC, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's getting late. I also got to rest up for Best Ball Jeopardy tomorrow. And I also got to get away from this Superflex ADP. But yeah, you can go to bed, MC, if it's that late. Maybe you're just wired for that reason. But especially if you're on the East Coast, it's a reasonable time to go to bed. Pepper Tony probably never sleeps. Pepper Tony never sleeps. All right. Let's do some team reviews. We had Super Beast, a team review is in store for him, a member of the channel. We also got A-Rod, Underdogs Anonymous, Batwheat as well. And then Chad, the Niner fan, getting a team review. Let's take a look. Super Beast with Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Shedeur Sanders, and Kirk Cousins. Not the most inspiring, but don't hate it. Cousins, I think, is pretty valuable in this format because you know he will get some starts. And at pick 146, I think it's a pretty sweet click. He might be off the field, though, by week 3, and that'd be brutal to spend that much on him. So he's kind of risky. That's where I kind of just prefer to take 3 really late handcuffs. Him versus Justin Fields, is possible we get the same amount of games out of Justin Fields as Kirk Cousins. So he might actually be pretty overpriced for the certainty of knowing he's there week 1. it is still possibly too much, but less than Shador by 2 rounds. That's definitely more valuable than Shador. But Gibbs and Travion, elite upside, Quinshawn and Ramondre, so locking up a lot of volume, locking up the Patriots running back. Ray Day and Mike Washington, solid late round handcuffs. Any team with Gibbs and the Patriots backfield, going to feel good. But Amon-Ra for that Goff triple. London at 47, excellent at number 2. Roma Dunze, we mentioned he's been an excellent value this whole time. 95 feels way too late on him, but Boston, Naylor, Jalen Noel, so double Jalen, and then Keenan Allen. Gotta love it. Final round, Keenan Allen. So a little bit thin in the middle, but the top 3 are fantastic, and then if you do get something out of Keenan, he's pretty clutch. But Pitts, Goddard, and Colby Parkinson, that's fine. Parkinson could really regress, though. If Parkinson loses the goal line touches, then yikes. I'd be worried about Parkinson falling off dramatically. But he scored 8 touchdowns last year. It's possible another 6 are still in store. But we mentioned some other team reviews in store. We got Underdogs Anonymous. A-Rod drafted Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy. He handcuffed Marcus Mariota, so every week he has the Commanders quarterback. Mariota's good, but not that good. It'd be a steep fall off if you actually have to count on him. But a spot starter like 3 times this season, you can get away with it for sure. Not a bad click at all. And then Jameis Winston, definitely a name I like to take as well. Good high upside at handcuffs. Love it. But running back with Saquon, Javonte, Scatabo, Pollard. So a lot of volume, a lot of touches, pretty balanced. Not a single double on the bye week. You also have Bigsby handcuffed. Excellent. But maybe just... I'm of the belief I want Saquon alone, and then I want Bigsby on a shit ton of teams. But taking them together... If Saquon really works out, then Bigsby's kind of worthless. Maybe 1 or 2 games, though. He does fill in. And it's what you need to advance. But Justice Hill, there'll be like 1 20-point game and then like no other game with more than 9 points. And in general, hitting 6 points is kind of impossible for Justice Hill. So he's okay, but he's not a great pick. A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Parker Washington, Mekhi Lemon, Ricky Pearsall, Deebo Samuel, and Dejon Stribling. That's fine. Pretty solid values, pretty well-rounded. A.J. Brown feels like a stud at 43, an excellent pick. Kittle, Okonkwo, and Barner, that's fine. If Kittle is healthy, you have an elite upside tight end that is stacked up. You have Purdy as well. So, yeah, the Pearsall and Stribling pick, even better. The bring back on Lemon, pretty sweet. And then Evans stacks up as well. The shirt, almost missed it. Okay, yeah, a lot of stacks with Purdy. Pretty sweet. Running back feels very solid. A couple bringbacks, and then tight end is just kind of hoping that Kittle delivers. But Okonkwo and Barner, if they score as many touchdowns as last year, you'll probably be pretty happy. Good team. Yeah, no major complaints. There isn't a stack with Jaden Daniels, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, no, you do have Chick. My bad. You do have Chick. All right. Excellent all over the place. Phenomenal job. We got Batweed in the house, another member with Baker, CJ Stroud, Tua, and Michael Penix. Both Falcons, kind of expensive at pick 90 and 103. I like to take one. I don't like to take both, but I understand it. Hopefully you have some Falcons stacked up, so it's even more worth it. But it feels a little expensive, not going to lie. But ultimately you get every single start and finish out of the Falcons quarterback room. And under Kevin Stefanski, that could offer enough value. Quarterbacks 3 and 4, though, little expensive. Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, not the most inspiring quarterback room, but could be enough if the Falcons do step up. Or if CJ Stroud returns to his rookie form. I doubt it. But Christian McCaffrey, Travis Etienne, Dave Montgomery, Rashad White, B-Rob, Nick Singleton, and Braylon Allen. Not bad at all. The top 4 is where it's at, but the depth is also pretty decent overall. On this one, we got Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Michael Wilson at 127, Golden, Jaden Higgins, Darnell Mooney, and Jack Betch. The top 2 are great. Wilson and Golden. I guess it's worth taking Wilson every now and then, but I just don't do it. I'm really, really low on Michael Wilson shares. Golden, I take a shit ton of, though, so that feels pretty sweet. I think it'll work out. Tight end, though, is kind of mid. Only Juwan Johnson and Kate Otten. That doesn't feel great. I don't think that's enough. There's not enough upside here. This is very mediocre at tight end. Like one of the most mediocre tight end rooms you could piece together. It's tough to be bad at tight end. This is a very low ceiling type of combo. It's enough to give you like 7 points every week on average, but that could still be like the more optimistic outcome there. Good luck with those two. I think you needed a higher priced one because you got a lot of running backs, a good amount of receivers. With Jamar Chase and Waddle, I'm not sure you need Jack Betch. Give me another tight end. Give me a really late round tight end. Swing for the fence. I think that's what I would change. But like I said, there's no justification for Tua and Penix. I was looking for that. It never really materialized. I don't love the double Falcons here. Don't love it. We got Niners fan, though, with Herbert, Mahomes, and A-Rod. That's fine. Love that. We got the Week 17 bring back as well. Love that. Ken Walker, Devon Achane, Kyron Williams, Sean Tucker, and Katron Allen. Pretty decent. The top 3 should take care of the job, and the late 2, I think, are good values. So, not bad. We got Luther Burden, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Quentin Johnston, Worthy, Coker, Ridley, Franklin, and Tyquan Thornton. So a lot of volume here. 9 receivers in Superflex. That feels overboard. I can't say I think every single pick here was necessary. I don't love Ridley. I think that one is the worst pick of all of them. I think these top 6 are justified. You could honestly just stop there. I think if you remove Ridley and Franklin and put them elsewhere, especially at running back, it would feel better. Quarterback, I think, is fine. Tight end with Kelsey, Gadsden, and Freiermuth checks out as well. All 3 stack up. Yeah, Ridley and Franklin feel a little bit unnecessary, kind of out of place, but maybe only drop Ridley, only one of them, because Burden is your number 1. I get wanting to attack it with volume, but I think running back could use one more. Late round flyer. I think that's what I would have liked to see instead of Ridley. And not just because I wanted to draft Ridley on my team. That's not the case at all. I did not give a fuck to stack up Ward and Ridley. It's purely I just don't think you need him. And I think he's also kind of worthless. Unless he gets traded, I just don't see the value on Ridley. Aside from maybe like a random touchdown. Not very valuable in Tennessee. Very crowded over there. Okay, that's it for this lobby. The chat has been weird in terms of technical difficulties. The filter has been making it lag, making everything pop up 5 minutes later. Tonight, it was not just my lack of attention, it's also the technical difficulties. So, I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I think I'm just going to move on. We got a few other team reviews in here, but not too many. There was one that was requested, though. I think that'll be our last one. And then I might go to bed. but we were in the Superflex contest. And it would have been this one. It was Game Tight. Let's take a look at Game Tight's team. We have Herbert, T-Law, and Tyler Shuck. Jeremiah Love, Kenny Gainwell, Jordan Mason, Woody Marks, Mike Washington, Jalen Wright, and Ollie Gordon. Don't love it. Feel like it's really desperate down the stretch. But yeah, this feels gross at running back. But Olave, Egbuka, BTJ, Tyson, Golden, Naylor, and Trey Harris. We got Loveland, Gadsden, and Cade Otton. Word. Receiver, I think, is pretty loaded. Definitely interesting. Tight end with Loveland always feels great. But quarterback is definitely what carries it. The Herbert, Lawrence, Shuck. Decent stacks, but only Trey Harris and Gadsden. I wish Herbert was stacked up better, but I think it can definitely work. Quarterback feels very productive. And good luck week 7, but I think you'll figure it out. Running back, though, is scary. That needs some help. Everything else is good enough, though. But all right, I think I'm going to move on. I will see y'all tomorrow. We will be live with the Fanspeak Network for Best Ball Jeopardy tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. That's at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. It's a late episode if you're on the East Coast, but going to be very excited for that. Versus our boy Who Hames. Subscribe over on Who Hames' channel if you don't know him yet. Friend of the channel. Awesome time over there. And going to be a fun game. Very excited. Not wanting to underestimate my opponent. Also don't want to get too cocky. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm hopeful it's a close game. And we'll see. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Take it easy.